Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the revived BPX Break Room. I am Jen Kahn, and as always, joined by my partner in crime, the voice, the vibe, the one and only Tex Hooper. And today we've got something a little extra special. Slappy is stepping out from behind the curtain, off the producer's desk, and onto the stage. That's right, no hiding in the shadows this time. He's live and in the mix with us. Which also means if anything goes wrong today, he can only blame himself. And it's a good thing we've got the full crew because we've got a jam-packed lineup, so loaded with talent, it might take us a minute just to get through all the intros. But when the guest list is this stacked, you don't rush it, you just enjoy it. First up, he is all about clean cuts, clear tips, and card shipping mastery. You've seen him breaking it down step by step in How I Ship My Trading Cards, the one and only American Texan. Then we roll into the queen of expressions, the mastermind behind the Wonders Workshop. From heartfelt storytelling to those signature looks that have become her trademark. She's here fresh off her deep dive into Emma, Rise of the Mythic, not dead yet. And hey, I'm just so excited to finally have another female creator on the show, so it's not just a total boys club. Give it up for Carolina Girl.
Yay!
Next up, we've got Benless, who's here to spotlight Stone Seeker Society, a growing school community built around learning the game, hanging out with passionate players, and creating an engaging play environment. Fresh off the Orlando tournament scene, he's here to bring us up to date and give us all the firsthand insight. Then it's time for Ben from Be a Hero Gaming, tackling the questions we've all been asking. Why are CCGs so expensive? Why is there no product available? He's got all the hot takes and the fire to fuel the roundtable discussion. Ben, welcome. And finally, we close strong with a man who needs no introduction. Not only is he the architect behind Shoot Straight and the upcoming pricing tool for Wonders and Boba singles, he is also the reigning Boba World Champion. Give it up for Bastion!
Yay!
Still Bastion, okay.
I can't mix real and Discord. It messes with my brain.
It's hard enough having to remember one name for everyone, let alone two.
Exactly. And then hopefully we'll have Gabe from Shockham Comics join us, and he is here to talk about issue 003. Which is out, not dead yet. It's heating up, and big things are coming with Call of the Stones. So hopefully Gabe will be able to join us as well. But this is the lineup, this is the energy, and this is why BPX Break Room is back. So buckle up, drop your questions in the chat, and let's get rolling.
Woo! All right, now that I'm not stepping on Jen's intro, how is everybody?
Rocking and rolling.
Doing fantastic.
Awesome.
Couldn't wait for this.
All right.
All good here.
Fantabulous. So I think let's start off with American Texan.
Howdy.
We were joking before, but I think this is no Avatar.
No Avatar. You guys made me turn it off. I was totally ready. If this is more comfortable for everyone. I was totally ready to get that going, but you guys said turn the camera on, so hey, here we are.
I was hoping there'd be a hat.
It's in my wife's car. Again, I didn't know y'all were gonna make me be on camera. I would have brought the hat.
Your wife's car or your wife's truck? What'd you say?
No, my wife's car. She drives. We love America. We love Texas, but when it comes to carting the family around, Toyota Grand Highlander is the car of choice for us.
Great.
Nice.
So American Texan, though, you're not too different than the figure I put on Mount Rushmore for the promo for the show. I think actually
you were pretty close. You were pretty close. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but the card Tyros, that was actually they modeled that car after me, but they said they told the AI make muscles a little bit smaller, so it's a little bit more, could fit in the cart a little bit better. But yeah, so
American Texan, first of all, is that we see you have it up on your name, youtube.com/@AmericanTexan. Is there anywhere else to get your content, or is that the only place?
Yeah, YouTube's the main place. I'm also on X. You can find me there, American Texan 13, because apparently there's 12 other American Texans. But you can find me there on X.
Great. All right. And how often are you dropping? I feel like you're starting to increase your frequency, but how many times a week are you dropping content?
So I post 6 videos a week. 3 of them are wonders. This is a hobby channel. So my hobbies are Wonders of the First and comics. So on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do comic videos. And on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays, I do Wonders of the First videos. Tuesdays are going to be mail days where I share what I got in the mail from trades and buys. Thursdays and Saturdays is honestly whatever is on my mind. This week is going to be what I think the difference is between investors, collectors, players, and Ben. And he gets his own category there. And then Saturday, I haven't decided yet, but I've got a list of content that I'll film later this week.
Tex, Jen, are you guys shocked that when we asked how often he drops it, that without hesitation, without thinking back in his memory, he was like, bang, bang, bang. Like, this is the schedule for my like, I'll be honest, as somebody who watches your content, I just enjoy it. But I didn't know it was so structured. And Grace or Carolina Girl is Ben. Did you guys know that it was on that schedule?
No. I kind of did, because I schedule stuff and I notice patterns, and I knew that I was seeing new content on specific days.
Yeah, and I didn't, because I'm completely unstructured.
Okay. Actually, Bastiton, who, look at his background. He told me earlier how he's not organized. Look at those shelves. And he told us.
This is green screen. This is, I paid a lot for it. It's interactive. I can actually.
It's interactive.
Wow.
Press the button here.
You're living in the metaverse.
I can pull a book out of the green screen.
Yes.
Man, AI is changing the world, guys.
Yeah, right. God.
Mastodon
on the cutting edge of technology.
Yeah, no, our CFO here, Jason's actually AI generated. He's actually in Maryland right now. I'm in Virginia, and he actually doesn't even know he's on stream right now because I have his camera activated from his laptop. So
it sounds like you can pay your CFO a lot less when he's AI. Hey, I just want to give a shout out to Big Rob, BRFTW, and Jay, who's out there watching and commenting. Thanks to everybody, I should say, who's watching. Also, special thanks to those commenting. Get your questions, comments in here for all the content creators you have here on stage. Capricorn saying Ben is the man. So just FYI. American Texan, no, I do want to talk about I believe it was the last one you dropped. It was mail day. So yes, yesterday, we're filming this on a Wednesday. You dropped yesterday on a Tuesday, your mail day. And it was interesting to see what you had gotten. Talked about, of course, the trade with Bill Cott that you did. And you were talking about, I'll leave it as a tease. I love the video where you're like, you won't believe what I got in the mail. You got it from the Wonders team. I know everybody else on here is jealous of what you got. I'll leave it to people to head to YouTube, to American Texan, to see exactly what the Wonders team sent him. It's shocking. And without saying the details, is that I love your transparency when you were saying, hey, these are my goals in Wonders and what I want to have as my collection. And so you're willing to use that amazing token of appreciation that they sent you and use it to swap. Did you clearly kind of were torn about doing that? You can hear your thinking going through your video. Is like, did you right from the beginning, as soon as you got it, you're like, oh, this is how I'm going to get what or did you think I got to really hold on to this because it was a gift?
So there's only one item in my collection that I consider a forever item. I don't want to be buried with it, but I do want my kids to, enjoy it after I'm gone. And that's my Frenchie signed formless foil prisoner. Hopefully soon to be Ramal and Tinsman signed as well. I want to get it 3 signed. But the quill box, hey, spoiler alert, they sent me a quill box. Let's just talk about it, right? I got a big mouth. I'm a Texan, okay? So the quill box was a huge surprise, and that was going to be forever. After I opened it, I immediately went to As Collectibles and bought a case for it, which you can see me put on the video that came out yesterday. But at the same time, I look at my collection or anything I collect as what am I going to enjoy the most? I don't want to chase for completion's sake itself. I want something that when I walk into this is my office, I work out of this office. The reason why I'm not in my usual get up is because I'm making sales calls during the day, right? So, I mean, I want something that will help me enjoy the process. When I got to grind down, no one's home, I'm on my own, the couch is 30 feet away. I want something that if I'm going to sit in an office and do work and run a business, I want to be surrounded by the things that I enjoy. And one of those things is Wonders of the First. And I've got my collection binder right here that if I need to man, I really want to take a nap. I really want to go have an extended lunch, but you know what? I got to dig deep. I got to build this business. I got employees that rely on me. I got a family that relies on me. I also have some cards that I want. And I look at the cards and I'm like, all right, let's make some sales so I can go out and buy a Formless Foil F this or something like that. And so I like to surround myself by things I enjoy. Anyways, the quill box is awesome. I love it. I enjoy it. It's on display back there in my corner there where I make videos. But at the same time, if I'm looking at the quill box or I'm looking at 7 additional Mythic Formless Foils that I would trade I would rather have those Formless Foil Mythics to complete my Umbra-themed collection. It's one of the things I teach my kids. You know, you got to imagine before you buy something like, say, a McDonald's Happy Meal, or not a Happy Meal, but a cheeseburger meal or something, like, would I rather have a McDonald's meal in one hand, or would I rather have a $10 bill, because that's about what it's going to cost nowadays? What would I rather have? And it's like, well, I'd rather have the $10 right now. Okay, great. Let's go home and make a sandwich, right? So I look at it the same way. Would I rather have the quill box, or would I rather have a completed Mythic Formless Foil set for Umbra themes that I still need and have a hard time collecting? Because, you know, I can't just go out there and buy everything up. I can't, and I don't have as much trade bait as I would like. In the trade bait that I do have, it's just a little, you know, it's hard to match that exactly, right? It's hard to find someone with a Formless Foil Mythic that also wants a Formless Foil Arius of Boundless, right? Or Arius of Thalwyn. So I'm like sitting here like, okay, well, if I did want the Formless Foil Mythics, what things can I trade, right? I've traded some crazy things. Me and I traded an electric guitar for a handful of Formless Foil Mythics in the Blockbacks channel, right? I will happily trade to get the stuff that I want. And this is just another asset at my disposal now to trade for those Formless Foil Mythics. And I'd like to think as a member of the community that the Wonders team, you know, if they could, and I don't think it's part of the culture, they would have sent me the Formless Foil Mythics that I needed for my collection. They saw my binder, they saw the gaps, right? And if they could, if they were inclined, like some other businesses might, they could just walk over to the line, print some more, print a sheet, you know, or grab some out of the pack that they know where they are. That's not the Wonders team, right? So they're like, we got to send them something. We want to send them more than a shirt and a hat, which is what I was expecting, right? I was expecting, you saw the box. It was sitting right next to me the entire week until I did the mail day video. And I'm like, I cannot believe this was sitting next to me. I'm glad I didn't keep it in my car or anything like that. But I opened it up and I was just like, I'm glad I'm not filming this. You should not see a grown man cry in this way. I could not believe it. I even messaged Joe and I was like, are you sure you guys sent me the right thing? Like I was expecting a hat or a shirt. But all that said, you know, I think they value the chase. They value collecting what's going to bring you the most joy. And at the end of the day, it's like, I want these Formless Foil Mythic Umbra themes to finish out my collection. And I don't have 2,000 or 3,000 to invest in this product. I barely have what I have now. And so just being creative, it's like, okay, well, if someone's out there and they can match the trade value of the quill box with Formless Foil Mythic Umbra themes, let's talk about it. You know, worst case, let's talk about it, right? I run a business. I do sales for half my job. Worst case, let's just talk about it. Worst case, you walk away learning something, I walk away with something. Best case, hey, we both got something more valuable than what we had.
So now, since you've dropped the video, I assume the quill box hasn't been claimed yet. You haven't completed the trade. Has anyone reached out?
No,
Really?
Because part of it, and by the way, let's just admire it here since I'm on camera. You might as well get to admire it.
Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on a second.
Gorgeous there.
Let me put you in.
You got my ring light.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, there we go.
Ooh, man.
I mean,
nice.
just absolutely gorgeous.
It's nice.
It is so cool, and it's in this box here from As Collectibles. Go check them out. Actually, I think this was the last one they had in stock. So, but anyways, if someone would rather have this, and they just happen to have a Formless Foil Nocturna of Armor theme, a Formless Foil Efthus, a Formless Foil Desolation, and probably 3 other Formless Foils to get up to the trade value of this box, hey, let's at least talk, right? I'm not saying I'm going to do the deal. I'm saying let's at least talk. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of, you know, where my head is at with this. And I don't want cases Like, I know I could trade this for cases or more boxes or whatever. No, I want the stuff that I want to finish my collection. And at the end of the day, I think the Wonders team would appreciate that.
All right. Well, and you mentioned Joe Doug. Joe Doug's here in the audience commenting, said to say hello. So he is definitely hearing you. Also, just want to mention Capricorn mentioned all my favorite people in one place. So he's showing love for everybody in addition to Ben. Want to shout out to Joe who's commenting. Also, Capricorn, American Texan, has some advice. He said, you just need to get better at opening packs and you won't have to open as many. So that's his tip of the day, pro tip of the day. American Texan, we were going to move on to Carolina Girl, but you mentioned, what was the next piece you said you're going to be next drop we're looking for, and it's going to be on Thursday, tomorrow?
Yeah, investors versus collectors versus players, with a little bit of what speculators and flippers and scalpers. I want to put some definitions behind that. I think we all have our own definitions. I'm going to share my own. Whether it's not very tough. I have a preset idea of.
He's got it figured out.
Are you going to include Milvek as his own category?
No, no. I'll put Ben in his own category.
He cracked the code.
But no, what is the difference between the two? I think it's good to have a dialogue on what these terms mean. And, if I have an idea of what an investor is versus a collector, and someone's like, hey, that's not a collection, that's an investment. It's like, all right, cool. Like, let's talk about that. And maybe I'll come out with a part 2, like, here's how I changed my mind on that. So, that'll be coming out hopefully tomorrow, if not Saturday. And I'll have a different video for tomorrow. Like I said, this is a hobby channel. And this is like end of the day. Kids are in sleep. Work's done. Dishes are done. House is ready. Now I can film a video for the last 30 minutes to an hour a day. That's why I stutter so much in those videos, because I'm tired. I've already been up for 20 hours.
Oh no, your content's great. We love it. Keep it coming. Tex, Jen and I were talking before the show. You guys nail it. It's all right around 10 minutes, 7 to 12 minutes. You guys keep it brief. You keep it interesting. It's fun to watch. We tend to be more on the collector. Well, we'll see what American Texan's definition is, but we seem to be more on the collector side than the player side. But even the ones that get a little bit more heavy to the playing side, we just love watching the content. So thanks, American Texan. Are you going to stick around though? So sit on the couch? Okay, good. Because I think Grace, otherwise known as Carolina Girl, is that she is, you're a college girl, right?
Yes. My last semester. I graduate in December.
Oh, wow, yay.
And you have to get to class. This is live TV. You've got to leave for class in less than an hour, right?
At 1 p.m. I have to leave to go to my organizational and industrial psychology course.
Oh,
all right.
Oh, well, that's what I used to teach that.
Oh my God.
All right, so Carolina Girl, tell us about, though, you were talking about you had to use on your last video, you said I had to use my journalism degree or class, or what is it?
Yeah, so I'm a communications major, so they make us take a bunch of like basic classes. My concentration is interpersonal and cultural communication. In other words, I yap at people, which is why I'm good at making videos. But I have for my major, you have to take a basic writing course for how to write a news article, how to do interviews, that sort of stuff. And so I was, making the joke that since my last video involved a interview, that, I had to put that there. So yeah, that's kind of what I was joking about there.
What? All right. So where can we find you? We all know to find you on YouTube. Is there anywhere else that we can find you? X or anywhere?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
I've been thinking about doing Instagram for the shorts that I've been doing, but it's a lot right now because like I have a job outside of this, and I'm applying for jobs. And so like if I can just do it on YouTube, it's kind of one of those things where it's like where is my best bang for my time?
Yeah, you sound like American Texan, that's a great point, which is all of you managing your time, this is not your primary thing. So as a member of the community, thank you so much guys for doing this. So I had one question for you, and like after I did it, there are two things that I thought it's kind of sexist, like, right, with men, we tend to look at women and like how they look or their expressions. And like, I feel like we do that more in society than we do it to men. Like, I'm just thinking, I know sometimes you wear glasses, sometimes you don't. I don't know with Ben, whether he wears glasses and sometimes he doesn't. And that is a bias that I'm having. But I notice your videos, Grace, is that there's a lot of times an expression on your face, like an exaggerated expression. But I almost feel like that's part of the hook. Like, is that intentional? Like, you're not looking like, I mean, we all know the suggested YouTube thumbnails they want you to use, right? And yours are like, it's always this expression. I'm like, what is she about to say? And it almost makes me, it's part of what makes me want to click play on your videos.
Well, I was trying to make generic thumbnails, but I have some strange faces that I make. If you've ever met anybody who's known me for a long period of time, they will tell you that you can always read on my face what I'm thinking. I should never play poker, that sort of thing. And so I'm usually trying to make a surprised face, like, or something, but I do know that I emote a little differently, and so there's all these sort of things that, like, I'm trying to do something funny, and hey, if it's hooking you, it's working.
Absolutely.
You got to get those clicks up. The thumbnail drives the click, and that's how you do it. That's why everyone's making those faces. I even make my avatar make those faces.
When I was not doing thumbnail, like when I started doing thumbnails with my face on them, I was like, oh wow, look at how many more views I'm getting.
Yeah. Just interesting to see that background.
Yeah, and to answer your unasked question about the glasses, I get migraines, and these are blue light glasses, so depending on whether or not I feel a headache coming on, I'll wear them. I try not to wear them while I'm filming because nobody wants to look at glare in my eyes, the whole window to the soul thing. It takes a little away from the video, but it just, if I have a really bad headache that day, I typically put them on.
Great.
Wonderful.
My favorite thing about Grace was the video she did of the top down, how you had that rigged up so you could your phone could show down.
Yeah,
I love that because when I
My
first started
contraption
doing videos,
with cards.
when I started doing videos, I didn't have that. I had this crappy tripod, and I propped it up with couch cushions, leaning over the table so I could get a top-down view.
Well,
Excellent.
and the funny thing that I couldn't show you is that on top of that, and for those of you who haven't seen it, I have card boxes stacked in a way that I balance my phone on top of to take my top-down videos.
Perfect.
And then I put a little rock on top of my phone to balance it so that it doesn't tip off the front.
High tech.
I really need to buy like a tripod or something, but if it's working for me right now, it works.
Take a picture of that so we can see that.
That's part of the fun. That's part of doing all this. Is seeing the creators grow in the things that they have to offer. And there's a comic book channel that I follow that he's like literally like, hey, I want to buy some new camera stuff. So here's the comics that I'm selling to help fund and the community around him. That's like, hey, yeah, like let's do this. We want you to improve. We want to support you. And again, using the assets that you have to get what you want in those trade deals, that's a lot of fun. And so to see your MacGyverness, what's the word I'm looking for? To see how you figure these things out, I think that's fantastic. Yeah, your ingenuity.
So one of the things I want to get with Carolina Girl before we move on is, Jen, you mentioned you saw her latest video, which the Emma video, which just dropped yesterday, people will be watching this recorded. Dropped on
I dropped
September.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday videos and Tuesday, Thursday shorts.
Okay. And what's anything with the subject matter? Does anything delineate?
When I have content of the same style that I can drop, I try to do it. Like, I think I've been doing mail days on Wednesdays or Fridays, and I think mail days on Fridays and the deck tech videos on Wednesdays, but I'm about to run out of both of those. So we'll see what happens after that.
So if you want to put your address in the chat, people can start sending, I'm kidding. It's like they can start sending you stuff so that way you don't go bankrupt. But Jen,
I'd be leery of some of that stuff.
And by the way, I know Gabe from Shockham is going to be here. And after we talk about Emma, maybe we can just talk about Shockham and your work there, and then we can head into Gabe. And then we also have Benless, who's backstage as well. And he's going to come on and talk about Stone Seeker Society. But Jen.
I want to hear about Emma.
Thanks, Jen. Jen.
Yeah. Okay. Max, Jen, your new name. What did I say in the intro, Tex?
I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'll be quiet.
No, I'm assuming, Sky, you're referencing another finally female creator. Can't be more happy. We have to stick together. And there's actually, oddly enough, I was thinking the other day, I'm like, you know what? I wonder if we got together and did like a girl gang, you know, just had how many others are out there? Like, there aren't that many, but I know there are some. So it's like we need our own channel, I think, our own gated channel. Just the girls.
Well, if you need a producer, I'll be glad to be behind the screen and help you guys. But so Carolina Girl is that, of course, one of the biggest topics in Wonders is Emma. It's the face of the franchise. Of course, it spawned a comic. It spawned an empire, which Gabe is going to talk about in a second. It spawned employment for you. But it goes back to, it was in the uncommon slot in the packs, yet it's a mythic. Yet it seems to appear some people have 20 of them, and then other people are like, how can you have 20 and I have none? So you went, and I don't think we're giving anything away. We can't talk enough about it here, and we're not going to go into the detail you did. But you spoke with the BlockFacts team. You pried information away from them. And what's your takeaway from the Emma story, this card? How rare is it, and should people really be picking it up both to play it and to collect it, based on how rare it is, and maybe how much does the community actually know that right now?
So there seems to be a lot of misconceptions in the community about how rare the card actually is, and I don't remember the exact statistics, but Emma is I'm speaking specifically about paper right now, because for all her other printings, she has the exact right numbers that match with the other mythics, to my understanding. But she's still more rare than an epic, and I think only something like 30 to 40% more common than a typical mythic. So I think the reason that we're getting this narrative is because there are some collation errors in the packs. We've seen that with the 2-player starter kits, where we get the 2 packs that are exactly the same. So I think when people see Emma in the uncommon slot, it rains Emma, like typically, because they end up in a bunch of the same cases. So I think that she's more rare than an epic, but definitely a little bit more common than a mythic and paper. And so I think people are sleeping on that a little bit when they're looking at values and collecting right now.
Oh, yeah. And the people who sit there and say, I've got 30 of these, how can these be that rare? Isn't it funny? Like, literally people are like, I'm sitting on 30 pounds of platinum. How rare can this be? And it's just like, I just think about all the people who were almost unhappy that they had all these Emmas and didn't, instead of just, you know, that's one of the reasons why I tend to be a hoarder, is that I'm like, I don't know what anything really means. And like the way Frenchie kind of develops everything, you won't know for the future. And the other thing is, I'm not as big of a gamer as you guys, but like what's going to happen with Call of the Stones? Like what's going to happen to these cards already? So it's a nightmare not knowing what could possibly happen to Emma or any card. Like that's why it's hard to let go of anything.
Yeah, well, they've said it once and they have said it again and again. Emma is only going to get stronger with Call of the Stones, and I don't think they say that thing. I don't think they say something like that lightly.
All right, and I'm not sure if you can answer this, but Jay has a question. It says, I've seen an asking price of $5,000 for an Emma OCM. Do you all think that's a fair price, over or under? This is not financial advice, but would anyone like to?
Seems a little high.
It seems a little high to me, in my limited knowledge. But
I would think maybe in the $2,000-$3,000 range might be a fair starting point.
I think it's low. I think it's a $7,500 card.
Wow.
Really?
Oh, I wish I had to sell you.
I know.
Everything is valued at what people value it. There are things that some people will pay more to have, and things that people will pay less to have.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, all I know is the typical value of what an OCM, a mythic OCM, is going for is something like between 1,000 and 2,000. And so, however rare we've seen Emma's to be, that reflects in how much people want it. That gives you a value.
Emma's better.
I believe in one of the early Radish breaks that we did, we had it was an Emma formless foil. It definitely came out of Dragon Box. I'm 90% sure it wasn't an OCM. It's hard thinking about that, but it was a formless foil, and that one I think sold for $1,500. So looking at where the OCM would be is like, yeah, I mean that 2,000 to 3,000 that I'm hearing, like it's interesting. Of course, Branch with Shoot Straight's going to talk about pricing for the Wonders community at the end of this show, so stick around to hear about that. Filizino's piping in and he's saying it. He thinks that 5,000 is overpriced at the moment.
I'm changing my opinion. I trust Filizino, so
there's no way.
No, you said 7,500. We had a deal.
Well, he
We had a deal at 75.
he did say at the moment. So I would probably say.
Yeah, the moment passed.
Emma's only going to get
Filizino says there's no way that card in OCM is more expensive than Nexus OCM, as an example. And I will say the one thing with Filizino, though, is Filizino reminds me a little bit of my dad. When my mom would go to buy a dress, my dad would think back to 1950 and what the prices were and be like, how can you spend $10 on a dress? It should be $1.40.
Mhm.
Filizino's got a little bit of that. Like, he wants to bring everything down, and it's just like he's fighting the tide of the people who are in here. One, the gamers who want to have it to play it, and the collectors. And then finally, Big Rob says a lot of Emma OCMs would be locked up. So I think finding one on the market will be rare. So I think it's not crazy to fetch 3 to 5. All right, Grace, let's talk about if add anything you want about Wonders Workshop, and then I want to just hear about Shockham Comics and your work there, and then we can go straight into Gabe, who's backstage, and we'll bring him on. If that's okay, Jen, Tex, does that sound good?
Sounds good. I have a quick question for Grace regarding the Emma. Now, the Rend card is also Emma, correct?
Yes, Rommel
do you
confirmed
think-
that to me.
Yeah. So do you think the Ren card should be considered equivalent to the regular Emma?
I do not speak for values. I do not. Here's my CYA before I say anything. I am a player. I have a player's budget, so my answer is no. It's also an uncommon, and it has a lot more printing. I think, potentially when we start to see some of the lore behind that card and what that story is, it might gain. Thank you. It might gain it might gain some traction, as all cards do when there becomes a story behind them in lore, and whether it's the lore from the actual company or the lore of the community. Like, a lot of the cards that we have that are more valued have community lore, and that's why they're high. And so there's that aspect as well. But right now, I wouldn't say anything crazy would go crazy with that.
I think that Ren card foretells something about what's going to happen to Emma in the future, and I think that Ren card might end up being a very special card.
On that note, I'll try to get us back more on schedule.
Yes. Okay. Enough of that.
So, Grace, you spent a time working for Shockham Comics, and we won't. We'll let Gabe just explain Shockham Comics, but suffice to say, it focused on a character from the Wonders universe, Emma. And so, what was your role with that organization?
So I served as the lead writer. So I wrote the comic scripts. That means describing the pictures, saying who's going to say what, and then handing that off to the illustrator and working with the illustrator to figure out what the best interpretation of what I actually put in the words versus what I meant was, versus how that works in their stylistic art style, how it works in the world as a whole, that sort of thing.
Wow, that's great. And that was for which issues?
So before I was done working at Shockham, I wrote issues 1 through 6. However, I don't know what changes will be done to 4 through 6 now that I am no longer with the company. So who knows? It may be the same. It may be different. I know Gabe's got a lot of really awesome ideas.
Yeah, when you say who knows, Gabe does, and we can bring him on board. By the way, Big Rob, and I'm also going to bring Benless on just to be on stage. He's going to join right after Gabe, so we'll bring him on as well. And I just want to point out that Big Rob said your poker face is showing now when you were talking before. when Tex asked the question. Thank you, Carolina girl, found at Wonders Workshop. So check out her content. And then Gabe from Shockham Comics. Welcome, Gabe. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Gabe, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Excellent. Yeah, you sound great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Grace, great to see you again. It's been too long. It was nice to
Yes.
hear. I joined on backstage, like was mentioned before. I was listening to you guys talk for the past 10 minutes, and I was like, man, it feels good to be around the Wonders peeps again, because it's been, head down, just working nonstop. So,
Well, Gabe, tell us about Shockham Comics. For people who've never heard of Shockham, we've got a lot of new people, especially after Orlando, who are landing in the Discord, don't know anything about Wonders, so they probably don't know Shockham. So for the new people, it's like, what is Shockham?
okay, yes. So, hello, everybody. My name is Gabe Fast. I am the creative director here for Shockham Comics. I have a few issues I can show off. So what we do is we have taken, that's Emma right there on the cover of Emma issue 1.
That's not Emma.
Yeah,
It looks like Jen.
It is. It's Emma. I'm telling you.
No, just happy put Jen up on the screen.
Yeah. What?
Why don't you
Okay.
put
Oh,
him
there
up,
we go.
Gabe?
There we go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's
so
what we
issue
wanted.
1, Emma, Rise of a Mythic, right there. So what we have done is, whenever Wonders they made their intellectual property available to purchase, we acquired a lot of those characters, items, and lands. And what we have done is we have come up with our own continuity of storytelling that is, its own canon path in the Wonders multiverse. So it's not, the story that Wonders is going to release themselves. Obviously, we're operating, next to them, and they've been so gracious to let us do that. But like Grace mentioned, we are in development right now. Issues 1 through 4 are currently available to read right now. Issues 5 through 8 are currently being developed right now. So it's very, very exciting. And so that's kind of a brief overview. And I'm happy to, go in if you have any more questions, obviously.
Where can you get the Tex Hooper? He asked the question
Yes.
the other day. He wants a physical copy of the latest edition, which just came out, on the 1st of September or last couple of days. Where
Yeah,
can you
number
get
3.
it?
Yes, so we don't have any physical editions of issue 4 yet. And honestly, I don't have a time for you whenever we will have physicals. That's, the past couple months, the company's been through a bit of a shift. So we're really just focusing on trying to build the intellectual property and make the story the best it can be. And we are trying to just have no barrier to entry for anybody. And so we've offered our comics free on Global Comics. You can read those 100% free. And we're really just excited to bring people along and hopefully get them invested in the story. And you know what? If there is enough, buzz and people are actually really clamoring for this thing, you know what? Yeah, we very well may do a physical issue 4. But as of right now, there's no plans to do that. So if you want a physical, issue 4, start talking about it. Start telling people about it. Read it. And
Okay.
If the data's there, we'll do a limited printing or something.
And Gabe, where is 1, 2, and 3? Where can people find the physical copy of 1, 2, and 3?
So what you can do is you can go to any of our social media, and there's plenty of places where you can click in our bio, and the shop is right there. We have just like a Shopify account. So I don't have a name of that website. I can look it up really quick if you.
No,
guys
that's
want
okay.
it.
But just give us one of your socials. How about
Yep.
Yep.
Go ahead and you can follow us on Shockham Comics at any platform. Like literally, if you we have enough out there now to where if you search Shockham Comics, you'll find us.
Okay.
It was actually kind of crazy. I typed in Shockham Comics the other day into Google, and it gave me like a very accurate description, like talked about who I was and who Emma is. And, Grace was mentioned as being the writer for the first, every issue that's out. And, it's like, okay, if you want to find us, just search Shockham. You'll be able to find us.
Okay, great. And then I think the only one other question we had for you was just you had some major announcements that you just talked about, kind of let the community know what was happening. You kind of talked about it right here, but do you want to do? We're going to move on to Benless in a second to talk about Stone Seeker Society. But Gabe, what do you want to add anything here for folks who are not in your Discord? Which that's another thing we should mention. You do have a Discord. If people, we'll put that in the chat as well, so people can join your Discord. But do you want to go into any details of what you discussed last week? I think it was.
Yeah. So last week we just released our very first Shock 'em Bolt. We, when we were kind of developing it, I think I kind of thought about it like, oh, we should have our own version of like a Nintendo Direct. I've always been a big admirer of like how those presentations are laid out. So that's really what we're trying to do, is kind of create a regular, communication to the public about what we're doing, what's significant. Do we have enough? Do we have enough to talk about to warrant one of these? I get a lot of ideas, so I'm always jotting them down on the whiteboard. And I can say with 100% certainty right now, we will be doing another Bolt at the very beginning of October. So if you're interested in following along with what we're doing, I would definitely check that out. But essentially, I've talked about it a little bit. We're moving away from our physical releases for now. And just focusing on releasing digital. We want to be able to get these issues out as soon as possible, get them into the public's hands, and then start making content about them, like really trying to immerse people in the worlds and get them to care about these characters, and try and tell a story that feels familiar but is different enough to warrant your time and attention. And it's been a great run so far, where we have no plans to stop anytime soon. But obviously, numbers dictate everything, unfortunately, in this world. So we're definitely just looking for as much support as we can get, just in reading the comics, and, let us know what you think of them. Definitely comment in the Discord about stuff. Because, it's a lot of work, and it's really just me and Emma. Oh, nice. Yeah, we just had our first Kickstarter, which was really great. I'm really happy with the way those pins turned out. So we really believe in Wonders as a concept, a brand, whatever. We really like the worlds that are found.
Ooh.
Yeah. I have my
those look
pins
great.
too.
Oh, wait,
Yes.
there's American
That's
Texan. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Thank you,
So-
American Texan, for that. And Gabe, will you guys be at Call of the Stones in the fall in South Carolina?
I don't think we have any plans to be there at this time. But then again, we haven't been really invited. I don't know if it's like, is that a free event for everybody, or is that just for the Wonders community? I have no plans at this time to be there.
I can
but
tell you,
never know.
everybody on this panel would like to see you there. So just an
Okay.
FYI.
Yeah.
When is it?
Yeah, it's November
I don't
That's a
think
7th.
good
it's-
question.
It's in
Yeah,
November
Tentatively?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
tentatively, November 7th through 9th.
yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't say I would love to be able to catch up with you guys too. And it feels like the shattering was just yesterday, but really it's been quite some time ago. So it would be really nice to reconnect. I have to say, I'm really excited for the new drop with Call of the Stones. I'm really excited to see what the team has in store. And I will say on the record, I don't know if we've ever said this on the record for the first time, if we've ever come out and said this, but we are looking for every opportunity to synergize with Wonders. So, the Rend ability was mentioned, and that sort of thing, as a card. I can tell you with 100% certainty, as a fan of Wonders myself, even though I'm a casual fan, when I saw that card and I saw the way Emma was depicted, I immediately got a million ideas. So that ability will be significant in our comic book series, and that's all I'll say about it at this time. So wanted to kind of follow through there, and I just have to say we're super fired up about what we're doing. Grace left us. She, her and I collaborated for hours and hours on the first, couple arcs of this story. So you'll inevitably, see her thumbprint, on a lot of the stuff we're doing. And I'm really excited to see where it goes in the future. It's very nerve-wracking because there does, it's knowing you guys are watching, it's knowing other people are watching. We definitely want to give as much fan service to the actual source material as we possibly can, and tell a story that really synergizes well with the thing that all of you love so much. So I appreciate you having me on to talk about it. It's definitely a big passion of mine, and it's cool to see other creators doing really cool stuff for Wonders as well.
Awesome. Well, Gabe, can you stick around on the couch for a little bit longer? Or?
Totally. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
cool. Well, and thank you so much, Gabe, for joining us. But we're going to move on to Benless, who thank you both for waiting backstage. And again, I just want to thank American Texan, Branch, Ben, Grace for hanging out for this hour. God bless you with Jen.
Zoom
Tex and
time.
Benless is that I bet a lot of people are like asking Stone Seeker Society, what is that? So tell us about
What is
yourself.
that?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So,
How's it going, guys? Check 1 2. Can you hear me?
Loud
you're
and clear.
good.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me on. So, Stone Seeker Society is something that myself and Felicino decided to start. We started cooking on it in July and had a couple meetings a week, and we really wanted to have and what we call it is a casual and relaxing education-based space for Wonders of the First. So we've been here since kind of the beginning, around the Kickstarter time, and everyone knows that Discord is kind of the main platform as far as where do you go at night after work when it's like I want to take in the game, right? Now we have a lot of the great creators that are on this call coming out, which is tremendous, but for the longest time it had just been a Discord. And as everyone knows, it can get a little bit Wild West in the Discord, and there can be sometimes some things going on in there that rub people the wrong way. And I think we felt like there needed to be a community that started Wonders only, right? Because Discord is so many different things, and Wonders has a section there, which is great. But we wanted something to be a really like just chill education-based space, so that when new people learn the game, it's easy to say, hey, go here. So we use a platform called School, SKOOL. That's a community platform that's gaining a lot of traction and is, I think, going to be huge and like household name very soon. I've been using it for work for a couple of years, and I loved it. And there's a lot of like hobby and like niche communities on there. So I thought it was just a very natural fit. So we talked about it and we came up with the idea. So when you go there, and there's a few on this call that are in the group, you have a community section that's similar to Discord, but a little bit cleaner. And again, it's Wonders only. So each topic has like a conversation thread. So instead of things just going bop, 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 and getting buried, there's very clear defined sections. Like here we talk about gameplay, we talk about this, and then each person can start a post, and that can be seen very clearly, so that if you hop in the end of the day, work break, you missed for a week, you can always hop in and pick right up and say, oh, they're talking about this, and this. I can comment or talk about what I want. So there's that. And then I think the coolest feature there is it is a classroom, much like you'd find if you've taken a college course before online, where we have Wonders 101. And that's a sectioned out classroom style content delivery that we've put together that gets people onboarded to the game. So that's like, we wanted to feel very welcoming, so that when people come in, everyone's kind and respectful, and we moderate that heavily, and we only do, we have to approve people to come in. So that's kind of the quick and dirty.
Have you declined anyone who wanted to come in that you know is a troublemaker from Discord?
And
Not
who were
yet,
they?
but we're prepared to. Not yet, but we're prepared to.
I'm
Can you give us
literally
a
waiting for you
who's
to
on the
step
list?
me right now. I just tried.
Cool. I will not divulge who is on the list currently.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Branch.
No,
You
I'm
just
pending
joined,
right
you
now.
said?
While you're talking, I tried to join. It's like it says pending, and it says you're not up to the standard. So I'm going to talk to.
You'll have to wait. You'll have to wait, Branch. I got Felixino's covering the invites while I'm on live.
Hey! You hear that? You hear that, Filizino?
They have a weekly board meeting where all names will be approved at that time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Benless, is that Carolina girl said she's excited for the upcoming tournament.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for the pitch there. And yeah, Grace has been a great part of the community, and she did a really nice video kind of showing a little bit of what we're about, which was really awesome. So yeah, one of the things that we've been talking about to make it interesting and make it an attraction is hosting a tournament that's organized and what I'd call casual competitive. So when I started sending out messages to all my Discord connections from over the last couple of years, kind of saw two segments of people. There was one that are definitely into playing and hang out in the Coliseum and really know the game, and are kind of like really interested in the nuances and the details of it. And then you have this other contingency of people who like the collecting and are excited about the game, and they've kind of maybe played once or twice, or they heard like they're not quite there yet, but they want to learn. So I'm encouraging both types of people to join, and we're going to just keep it semi-casual and just make sure we have fun. I'm opening it for 32 spots. We are asking a $20 entry fee, and that's not there's no admin fees or anything that will be turned around and paid out to the top 8 winners, just to add a little skin in the game, make it exciting. But I'll be kind of not curating, but once the software puts together all the opponents, I'll be reaching out to people and saying, hey, you're playing so-and-so, they are new, help them learn the game. I'll be popping on whenever I can. We'll have volunteer judges to pop in the games, all of which will be played on Tabletop Simulator. So it should be pretty exciting. It's going to start Monday of next week, and it's going to run for about a full month. There'll be 5 rounds of Swiss play. So each 3 to 4 day segment you'll schedule with your opponent. We're thinking of doing Eastern and Western conferences so that it's easier to schedule. And then you'll submit results, and they'll be tracked in the software. And we'll have a top 8 week that will culminate in a Friday, October 10th championship live stream.
Wow. And how many spots are left?
13 as of before I hopped on the call.
Okay.
You can put me down for one of those spots,
It's,
Ben.
it's
12.
12 now.
Oh,
You just reminded
12.
me to pay you, so I just.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're down to 11?
Get in fast. Get in
And
fast.
Do I
Branch-
get 10?
Branch
Can we
has
get
his
to
finger
10?
I'm looking for my wallet.
AI,
Yes.
tell AI to generate a wallet behind you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, so it should fill up unless I've tapped most of my network, so we're starting to spread out a little bit now to get whoever's still out there lingering. But I think it'll be a ton of fun, and it's kind of a way that, again, we have a lot of ideas for how to get the community more engaged, but we want to always keep the theme of things being friendly and positive, because again, there's just a certain way we're trying to do things where we want people to be excited to pop in there at night and spend 30 minutes or whatever you have to just soak in what's the latest of the game. We do polls every Monday, which I call the round start poll, and we get people voting on that. We're having like 30 votes each time. And then Wednesdays, we do Wonders Wednesday, which Filistino has run in the past. He's now doing that through school, which has native video hosting. So you can just go right through school, pop on, you're in there. And then Fridays every week, we do like a news update called the Orbital Gazette. So we're trying to get a nice cadence going to where there's always going to be something exciting to talk about.
That's awesome. And I know this, of course, is being aired live. Of course, some people might be watching it recorded. But I know, Benless, you mentioned you had a hard stop too at 1 o'clock. Is there anything? I think you covered everything. Is there anything else you want to say? And you probably can't stick around because we've got Be a Hero Gaming. Ben's going to talk a little bit right after this. And I know he's going to talk about his latest content, which, of course, American Texan's going to get into, but talking about collector versus gamer versus some other things. But anything else you want to add, and can you stick around on the couch, or do you have to go?
I can stick around. I'll have to leave the view window. I got to kind of multitask, but I'll definitely want to catch Ben's segment. He's got a great name and he's a good dude. So
it's confusing. There's so many Bens, like us two.
That's
He's
one reason I
less
added
Ben
the
than me. Though.
less. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Did we talk? I think you might be like a year older than me, so then like you got priority. I can't remember if we already did that. Maybe I dreamt that. I don't know.
So.
Anyways, yeah, thank you for letting me on. The only other thing I was just going to say is it's typically we send out invites. If you go to school.com and just search Stone Seeker Society, it'll pop up. I also dropped the link in our chat, Slappy, if you wanted to share it. Phyllis could probably drop it in as well. And I mean, we don't have like a FBI background check or anything. We just want to make sure that bots aren't getting in and that
that explains why I got in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Yes, unless it was on the ticker on the screen. It was put in the comments,
Awesome.
and then once it goes to a recording, we'll make sure to put it in the actual description. So we'll get
Awesome.
it there.
Yeah, we'd love to have everyone in there. Thanks for the time again, guys. Have a good day.
All right, thank you, Ben.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Take
Take care,
care.
brother.
Carolina girl, I really want you to be part of it, but you've got a hard stop in 4 minutes. Are you gonna? You want to stick around for the 4 minutes as we get into it with Ben?
Yeah, I figured that I'd stick around, and as terrible as it sounds, at 1 o'clock, I'd do my little bye wave and then just hop off if we
Okay.
all were in the middle of talking.
Do the old Irish
The
goodbye.
Irish goodbye. Yep.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's not a Franklin goodbye. That takes 3 hours to leave my grandparents' house.
All right. So it's let's see. Ben is that would Be a Hero Gaming. Sorry, it's one of the things I got distracted just because they gave us new admin powers where we can do the mirror camera, and I just noticed that, and it's like your poster was backwards, Carolina girl, and I found I could actually switch it. Sorry, it's like I squirreled there for a second. Not to take away from
You're all good.
Ben with Be a Hero Gaming, who Ben, it's like it's interesting how you weave a little bit of kind of like you're almost like a life coach, and along with a creator,
That's pushing it. That's pushing it, man.
Class mixed with,
If
collecting.
anybody watched your latest video, don't use the word never. You went on and on about don't use the word never, but then you said, well, if you're really principled, these are the times that you admire. I mean, the way you thread the needle, I mean, you just can I ask you, Ben, what's your day job?
So currently, I've had a whole bunch of careers. Currently, I'm an anesthesia PA. So
Really?
I
Wow.
drug people, put people to sleep for surgery, and if they're talking too much, I just
Hit him with a
Give it
little,
to him.
little
One of
extra
those
juice.
effects, please.
But yeah, I've had a whole bunch of jobs. It took me a while to find the career that I really love.
I didn't know if you were going to say counselor, preacher, or something like that.
No,
like,
no.
I know. I would have gone a psychiatrist or psychologist for sure.
So I will say it's hard because the last couple you did a whole segment just recently about pre-constructed deck, and I know the Wonders team is watching this, and a huge shout out to them. I mean, when you go through that video and you hear your thoughts about it and what you say about Wonders, it's just, again, it's another reason why a lot of us believe the success of this franchise, because they do things so well and so differently than other people. And do you want to comment on that just before we get over to the hot button issue, which filled Discord? I don't think the pre-con decks filled Discord the way collectors versus
No,
players.
not at all. Not at all. But the thing I actually, that was a real title, and I was really going to do that video about don't buy pre-constructed decks, because I do love the good old days when you had to figure it out on your own. You had to open the packs up, and how am I going to structure these combos? How am I going to do this? It was up to you. And so we had tried some Commander decks or Magic, and I was like, I don't want to do that. And I had some, and so I was really going to do a video on don't buy these. And I watched Capricorn's video about the recap of SCG Con, and I thought, man, I am so behind on my standard deck. I got to get to work. How am I going to figure this out? And we looked over on the shelf and saw our Wonders pre-con sitting over there. I was like, maybe let's just a couple of those. So we opened a couple of them up, and I'm like, my mind was blown. I had no idea those combos existed. And me and my kids were just like, okay, you try this deck now. Okay, now you try this one. What about this one versus that one? And we just were going back and forth. And my son
introduced you to an orb you never would have played.
And I opened Pandora's box. I wish I now and I didn't know there was going to be pre-cons for Call of the Stones. I heard there's going to be 3, I think. And okay.
And
All
Carolina
right, give 'em
girl,
to me.
you commented and you said, I think you were saying like pre-con decks have, well, to a certain extent, Ben, I think you were saying like in the old days before they had pre-con decks, and then Carolina girl, you're like, I've only been alive since there have been pre-con decks, so that's just like breathing air, drinking water. Right?
Yeah, pre-con decks started in Magic in 2011. I started playing in like 2015 was when I went to my first game store, but I played for a year or two before that. I was in elementary school.
I was going to say, was she like
That's
5 or 6
enough of
then?
this.
Is that?
Yeah.
Well, I hate to do this, but I've got to hop off. So I hope that y'all have a fantastic rest of your talk. And it was really nice to talk to everyone. And I hope y'all have fantastic rest of your days.
Thank you, Carolina
Thank you,
girl.
Grace. Take care.
Wonders Workshop.
Bye.
Bye.
Now, Ben, I have a question for you. In those Wonders decks, there's secret mythics in those, I believe. Did you hit any of those when you were ripping your decks?
So if you've seen some of the other videos, I hate to open this stuff. And that's another issue that I've run into is you open something and you get a good card and you, what else is in here? And you start tearing into the boxes. So no, those I actually bought from someone on the Discord who opened decks looking for those and didn't find them. So they had a set that were already open that I got at a discount. Mine are all still sealed. I haven't opened them yet. But trust me,
all of mine are too. That's why I asked, because I haven't seen any of these cards yet, and I want to.
Right, and
Hey, if you want to send them to me, I'll open them for you.
Yeah.
You would. I bet you would.
That was the tip. It's like not to get. There's plenty of teasers, but in his latest video, he talks about there are treasure hunters who are looking just for those secret mythic texts, and so or certain mythics, and so they will open it. And then they'll close it back up with the mythic included and not the one they want. And then you can buy it, but at a discount. So definitely that's one of the tips that Ben taught there. All right. But I want to get to the hot button issue, which I know has filled the Wonders Discord. And for folks not familiar, Wonders the First does have a Discord, but they talked about, Ben, you did a piece, I think it was two shows ago, but you said, why are CCGs so expensive? Why is there no product available? So do you want to set that up? And then I'm curious to hear what everyone on the table says. And I've got an interesting rebuttal. Like, I don't agree with your logic at your conclusion.
Good. I'm glad.
So what was the show about?
So the thing that sparked this was a lot of times when people will comment, I will think, the reason why I like doing videos is I like to talk and just ramble on. And so I get to do this video and everybody has to listen to me or they just shut it off. But people will comment and disagree with me. And I love that because it kind of stirs up thoughts and gets things going. There's this one person, I don't know if he's watching, but there's this one person that is literally always the first person to watch my videos and the first person to comment. He's very disgruntled. Every time I don't know, I'm thinking maybe he's someone from the community that got into Wonders and was upset by the lack of product and now is, every time he says, how can this game take off when there's no product? How can this game take off when it's so expensive? And the only way you can get it is from eBay and from scalpers and anyway, and I will say, for the most part, he's been very diplomatic. He hasn't said anything too harsh, but he'll always comment, again, the first person to comment. So I think this is weird that you're watching my videos, if you are so upset about this, but he still watches and comments. And so that's what got me thinking, maybe we should talk about this. Why is there no product and why is it so expensive? And first of all, it's important to know that it's not just Wonders. It's all across the board. It's Pokemon, it's Magic, it's Flesh and Blood. It's all of these games are really hard to come by, and the prices are going higher and higher to just astronomical, ridiculous proportions. And so it's not just Wonders. It's hard to get any product. If you go to the Target shelves, if you go to the game store, the shelves are empty. The game store will tell you, I can't sell you these because I need them for draft night. And there's just not a lot of product around. Now, I feel like Wonders is a little bit different than other games. I feel like other games are capitalizing on this. They're thinking, you know what? It's hot. Let's make it scarce. Let's drive the price up. Let's sell it out. I think Wonders is doing that because it's so new. I think you have to be really careful in what you print, because if they just dump a bunch of product on a small community that's growing rapidly, dump a bunch of product on this small community, what's going to happen when there's a glut of product and people aren't buying it? Maybe that won't happen. I don't know. Maybe they could print a ton of it and people would snatch it up. I don't know. But that doesn't bode well for collectible card games. Now, the flip side is also true. We see that with people wanting to get the product, can't get it, and slowly trickle out of the community because they just feel like it's too expensive. I can't get it. The singles cost too much. It's all scalpers. so I think there's a difficult balance here. I'm glad that's not on me, because I think that's going to be really hard to figure out what's the proper amount of product to be available to where we're satisfying the demand plus a little, but we don't have this glut of cards sitting on the shelf collecting dust. But the other thing is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, so I played TCGs since my early Army days. So mid '90s, I was in the Magic community, and I actually had a conversation recently about this. It probably factors in this. In fact, I think there's a real big lesson learned here. If you followed Magic and you were in with the Alpha and Beta, which I missed that, and if you somehow got in the Arabian Nights and the Antiquities and the Dark and and Legends, I missed that also. And then if you were unfortunate enough to get in when Fallen Empires hit, and if anybody's recognizing that reference there, what you know is so there's the but it's great cards.
Yeah.
But they were overproduced so badly that so many local game stores literally, not figuratively, went out of business because there's this allocation demand that everybody wants. I want this much of this, and I'm going to ask for this amount. I hope I get this amount, and you get 10% of it. And so then there's next time I'm going to ask for 10 times this, and maybe if I get 10% of it, I'll get what I really need. Well, and that happened with Fallen Empires, and then the print to demand element came about, and then people had 10 times what they needed, and the price bottomed out. And today, Fallen Empires packs are $15, $20, $30 a pack, but you can get them for 35 cents a pack, when right after the market dropped out. So, I think that the pacing is probably pretty good. But I'll let you continue with that. But I think there's a really big lesson there.
Well, Branch, I think that's a golden point, and that's exactly what I'm saying, because historically that's what's happened. Historically, Magic got really hot through Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, Revised, and these other side sets got really hot. Yeah, so then Fallen Empire came out, and they just dumped it, and it was too much. It was too much, and people just thought, I have what I need. I can't buy any more. Everybody has what they need. Mm-hmm. The other aspect, though, is the whole, and this is the sensitive topic, is the whole scalpers, the people that buy all the product. And I really think people go to Target and they don't know what they're buying. I think they just buy stuff, and because I went to, when the 2-player starter set came out, there was one Target in town in Colorado Springs that had it, and I bought one, and they left the others on the shelf, came back a week later, and they were gone. And I don't know anybody in Colorado Springs that plays Wonders. I think they just saw it and thought, well, this is cool. This is going to go for a lot on eBay. Or maybe they just looked it up really quick on their phone and thought, we're getting these, man. And so I think there's a lot of people that are diving into collectible card games. And I have to be careful saying this, but maybe don't have any business being in collectible card games because they're just doing it to try to make a buck. I don't know. I guess that's not fair to say. You try to make a buck.
I am so excited for y'all to watch this video because I'm talking about all of these. I'm gonna have to move my schedule tonight. I'm gonna tell the kids go eat hot dogs for dinner so I can work on this video. I'm not gonna cook you dinner. I'm the house chef here.
I can't wait.
We're gonna talk about all of these things, including the differences between scalpers, flippers, and investors, collectors, and players, and all that. So I am super pumped. I got some stuff. Ben, maybe you and I need to do a video too discussing it.
Well, and there was a guy in the Discord who said, I'm a flipper. And he said, I buy some stuff and keep some stuff and sell some stuff. I don't know if that's a flipper. I don't know if that's what that is. I feel like you're a collector. You enjoy the game, so you're buying it, and maybe you play. Maybe you're a player too. You play, and then you have some extra product that you're not going to use it. You sell it to people. I don't think, but anyway, so you get kind of into the weeds with this. But I'm talking about people that purely don't have any idea about how to play the game, what the cards are worth, the singles. They don't know anything about it. They just know it's hot. And right now, it's collectible card games, tradable card. That's what's hot. And so all these people that have money, they just think, man, people are 2, 4, 5, 10x in their money in this stuff. So I'm going to buy anything I can, and I'm going to sell it next week, or I'm going to sell it in 2 weeks. And this has gone on for a long time. Historically, it doesn't last this long. And so it's weird how long it's gone on for, because usually it'll go for a few months or a year, and then it'll kind of bottom drop. But it's been like 18 plus months that this has been going on, that people are just, it's being hyped and hyped and hyped. And it worries me a little bit that, it's going to come crashing down. I hope it doesn't.
Do you think that part of the reason for that is because there's been so much released and so many various sets, like Lord of the Rings set, the SpongeBob set, the I know there's been several others. Do you think that's part of it? Is they're branching out into all these different categories and trying to attract so many different people from so many different areas?
So that's a separate topic that I also have strong feelings about. If you see some of my other videos, but I like Magic the Gathering. That's what I like. That's what I grew up playing. That's what I play. That's what I like. Universes Beyond stuff. But it sells, and so
Right.
yes, I think you're right. It sells, and so they tried it out with Dungeons and Dragons. They tried it out with Lord of the Rings, and it was hot, and Warhammer 40K, and so it just blew up. So they thought, what else can we get? And so they literally just went to every single IP and it just blew up and blew up. But
Bought licenses and
yes, and the prices can't keep going up forever. They
Right.
gotta come to a point where they level off, or they just can't keep going up forever. And my worry is just like Branch talked about the Fallen Empire set. My worry is that card companies are going to get so stoked and so excited, they're just going to print all this extra product. It's going to get to the point where it's too much. All the scalpers, all the speculators, people that didn't really care about the product in the first place, they're trying to make money. They're going to move on to the next shiny thing. What's the next shiny thing? What's the next exciting thing? I'm going to that. And all of a sudden there's going to be a ton of product available, and it's not going to go well. I will say though, I think it bodes well for Wonders of the First to come out in this environment. I mean, it could not have been better timing for this game to come out, because
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
There's so many collectible card games that have come out, but Magic and Pokemon reskinned, all of them, every single. So many people have said, "Hey, try Sorcery, try Lestrals, try all these other games," and I look into it, and I'm like, "This is just Magic. This is just Pokemon. This is the same thing. You just liked, a couple of rules to be changed. You changed a couple of rules and made it, but it's the same thing, And the beauty of Wonders of the First, and the reason why I think it's gonna go big and has a bright future, it's completely different. It is completely different than any other game out there. Not just from the gameplay, but from the fantasy sci-fi crossover. I mean, it's just golden.
Well,
That's awesome.
and I think actually I was hoping, I don't have it on me, but I wanted to see that comment that Frenchie made in the Discord where he was talking about what he plans on, where he sees the growth coming from it. But a couple of things we should say is that why Wonders is different is that Jeff French, for Gen Con, Tex and I, we've been involved with Jeff Frenchie and his projects for over 4 years now. And he does not look at, there's a story I love telling, like it goes back to my General Dynamics days, but the old saying about build a better mousetrap. And I'm like, no, you're wrong from the first point. My goal is not to build a mousetrap. My goal is to kill a mouse. And you keep focusing on this thing that everybody tries to make better. But I'm like, what's the best way to kill a mouse? That's what you should be focused on. And Jeff has that ability. It's like where most people say, like, how can I build a better mousetrap, i.e. Magic? Is Jeff is like, nope, let me see. What do I want to do? I want to make people excited. I want people to have fun. Okay, and then I'm going to do it in this. How do I do it? And he doesn't look at how other things are done. So let's be clear about a couple things. Is that absolutely, Capricorn just had a comment up where he said, his comment exactly was, keep the collector boosters scarce, but the play boosters abundant. We need constant access to play boosters for weekly limited events to grow the games. So there's truth to that. But what people have to understand too is when they released Wonders of the First, they had no idea how it was going to land. And I've never heard Jeff say this, but if I had a bet, I bet depending on how it landed, you would have seen a complete overhaul and a revamp, and it would have been tweaked before they came out with a bigger production. The other thing is, this is somebody's money. This isn't a big corporation. This is, I'm sure Frenchie has his partners, but this isn't a big corporation. So before they spend all this money and just say, we know it's going to be a success, here's the first outlay, then the next outlay, or we have no idea what the demand is, and we're just going to make enough. So there's just no way of knowing that. So they brought it out. They saw the demands there. But of course, with TCGs, this is very different than other things, is that gamers are they're very rabid. And so if they find out that they love a game and they cannot get it, you risk the chance of turning that person off for life. They will never go back because they feel like they were slighted somehow. It's like it's different than another commodity. So I think with the reason why we're all frustrated is because we want that product to get in the hands of the people who keep showing up daily. And I think what we're going to see, they landed the product, they landed it the way they want. I think it exceeded their expectations. And I think the Wonders team coming out with the Call of the Stones, I think they're going to have that. Now, Frenchie alluded with a comment where he said, listen, you're going to see growth. That you're going to see growth in this. The player base is going to go because he knows that the collector base can't sustain this. It needs to be a player base.
Right.
And Frenchie made a point of saying it is not going to be grassroots driven. He's going to do something to push it. And you can see, he got this on the game circuit. He's put thousands of dollars of prize money into it. And of course, people keep talking about the chicken and egg. It's like, well, you can't have these tournaments in this world championship if you don't have people playing at the LGSs. But conversely, can you get people playing at the LGSs if there's not something to play for? That's great that I play at my local store, but what am I going to do with it afterwards? So what's really hard is this is definitely the painful part. And the only thing I'd say is, like, when I watched your video, it was thought provoking, but in the end where you talked about with Wonders, that it might be like other ones where they're going to increase the supply. And so what's going to happen is you're going to see the scalpers who are going to say, well, I can't make my money here anymore. They're just going to dump what they have. And so it will bring prices back down. Frenchie is what people should know is Frenchie is a collector first. He is not a gamer. He respects the gamer culture. He brought in Brian Tinsman, the head game designer at Magic. So he absolutely believes in gamer. Frenchie wants the two to be married equally. But you have to understand is because he respects that collectible side is absolutely the print run's going to go up. They're going to have you're going to have those play boosters so that people can play the game. You can have events at LGSs, but it will not be like any other company, any other franchise. It won't approach the numbers. And I would expect early sets to continue to rise, Ben. Like, I don't think they level off. I don't think they come down. And I think, Filizino earlier mentioned, prices are finally coming down. There's a trough right now. Absolutely, there's a trough because there's been, let's be honest, it's a different team for Wonders than it is from Boba, but the leadership at the very top oversees both of the franchises. And it is too much to have both of them going gangbusters at once. So I personally picked up 30 Call of the Stones Dragon boxes because I 100% know this is a community that when everybody's looking left, nobody looks right. And I'm just like, I love the Dragon boxes. I loved ripping them. I like how they look. I love saving them.
Are you going to open all those, Slappy?
No, I won't open all of them. I don't know how many I'll open.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
Oh, he doesn't. Scott does not rip stuff.
It's really hard.
He's the worst.
At the shattering. At the shattering, my first Dragon box, my first pack, I hit my stone foil. So it was really hard. Like literally, I was like, "What am I going to do? Am I going to keep ripping?" I'm like, so that's why. And I've also, after I came out of the shattering, I told everybody, I'm like, rip your booster boxes before you rip your Dragon boxes. Like I'm not a drug user, but to me, it would be kind of like, should I get high on Mountain Dew or I should do a hit of heroin? Like, let's do the heroin and then go to the Mountain Dew. It's like,
look.
Okay,
I'm a Texas
going?
boy. I'm a
Where's
Southern
this
boy.
going?
We all know if you're drinking sweet tea after you eat dessert, that tea ain't sweet anymore. So,
I think there needs to be a banner, not life advice here, somewhere.
Yeah.
At the bottom.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
No,
Do
this is
not
life
be-
about. This is my Be a Hero gaming moment. Okay, guys, if you're drinking sweet tea, you ain't gonna like it after you eat dessert. Make sure you save the good stuff for last.
yes.
Well, I think Capricorn makes a good point in the comments. I mean, collector boosters, keep those scarce how it is. And I think I didn't think that will really help because it's true. We need the play boosters to play. We need those to play. Those need to be out and dump the play boosters on us. Just dump them out. And then the collector boosters can kind of be this other thing.
Hopefully that's where this is going, and we'll be able to get some
I will say,
real
too,
traction in the LGSs.
Speaking of Jeff, is so when I first again, Facebook totally knows how to advertise to me. I scroll through Facebook and it's like literally Kickstarter after Kickstarter after Kickstarter. I mean, like all these games and have you tried this game, buddy? Because they know what I click on. And I just remember the day I scrolled down and saw Wonder of the First, and I was like, I just saw these cards. I'm like, those cards look really cool. And I've seen tons of collectible card games. Clicked on it, scrolled through, checked out the rules. That looked dumb. And I see Wonder of the First, and I thought, man, those cards look cool. I click on it, go to the link, no reprints. I think, is that possible? Can that be done? No reprints? And I see, like, we want to make a game equal for collectors and players. I'm like, wait, that's me. wait, hang on a second here. And the more I dove into it, I just realized, man, this game looks awesome. And the sealing event for me was when I learned about Jeff and the team. When I kind of got to know who he was and his goals, and I just thought, wow, man, there is no way this game cannot just explode. Because so many of these games are created by, like me, some dude in the basement who, I'm going to make a collectible card game, you know, and I got $5,000. Here we go, you know, and it's just, and I'm just going to change Magic. No, it just doesn't work like that. And man, when I saw that, how cool the game looked, and then when I saw the team, it was just like, there's no way this game can't just go haywire.
I have a question for American Texan and Ben. If you could give, if say Frenchie came to you and he said, what is one thing you think we should do with, Wonders moving forward to help get more people in? What would? Well, but you never know. If he ever asked, is there one thing you think?
Yeah,
for both of you that they could do that they're not doing, or they could do better.
And Gabe and Branch, we'll come to you after those two.
Yeah.
I'll let Ben go first.
No, I go first.
I don't have anything, right? I'm a player. I'm a minor collector. I don't have anything. I've got some thoughts. I've got some feedback, but I don't have anything that's like, I would love to see this and you'll win this way, right? I mean, I felt the same way as Ben, right? I run a business. I run 2 agencies. One of the things that we always look for is who is the leadership behind this, right? You look at Kickstarter, you look at all of these crowdfunding sites, and you see 2 kinds of people. You see the kind of people that Frenchie and his team are, which are, we're going to launch this way because we believe it's the most economically efficient. We already have the backers from the Block Packs community and the people that were already in Boba that are also jumping into Wonders. But this is a great way to bring it to the public, while also still mitigating some risk doing it the crowdfunding way. Now, obviously, there was a different set of risks that they had to go through there. But I was the same thing. Like, if you look at our conversion numbers, right? Like, I was the perfect target because they probably spent $17 to $30 to get me as a lead, but they've made hundreds of dollars off me, if not $1,000 off me. And that's to them. Then the community's made even more money, right? On the secondhand market, because that's where everything is right now. So all I can say is, as a player, like, I can just give feedback. But the thing is like, keep the culture going, keep the leadership going. Don't do what other people are doing, where you try to shift to reach a different market and you've forgotten the market that you're already serving. Right? We see this in churches where they try to reach new, younger people and they totally neglect the people that built the church. We see this at Cracker Barrel, right? They totally neglect the Southern hospitality kind of feel to try to go after this corporate, let's make it more profitable on the back end, and it totally backfires. That's the only thing that it's like, I want to see the team, I want to see the passion, I want to see it continue to grow, but maintain that culture that they already have. And I don't think that's a concern. That's not even a piece of advice or like, let's change this. Like, no, let's keep it going. The only feedback I have, really, because I want to do a video of 3 things that I want to change in Wonders, or I want to see Wonders do. But it has nothing to do with like running the business, because I think that's operating at full capacity, and I think they're doing a fantastic job. The only thing that I want to see is, we talked about the 2-player starter sets. I think it was a mistake to put collector booster packs inside those starter sets, because who's going to buy it? The collectors, right? They were buying it for the packs and then just selling off or holding on to the player packs. We need player boosters in the 2-player starter set. And that really came down to a logistic thing. And I hope it's not the case if we do more 2-player starter sets for Call of the Stones. Put player packs in there. That will keep the supply with the players rather than collectors just buying it. You know, it's like going to a garage sale and I see a stack of comics in a milk crate, and there's only one that I want. And I know I'm going to be able to sell that for $40, $50, but I got to buy the whole crate. So I'm going to buy the whole crate. And guess what? No one else is going to read those comics, because those other comics are just going to go in a long box in my closet.
But so I think
I want to see that. That's the only thing that I would say, like, that's the one change I would like to see.
But I think they did that just so if the 2-player starters that were sitting around, people would want to buy them. I think that was the reason why. So there's something in these, you know, if it was just 2-player starter sets and play boosters, I don't know if they would have been as hot, but you're right. Collectors bought them.
And that's part of running a business, is he's got numbers on the back end that show whether or not that was a good idea. But I know me as a player, maybe he wants that. Maybe he wants people to buy for the collector boxes and then sell the packs for cheap. So the barrier to entry for new players is actually cheaper, because you're just buying the decks, but you're not getting the collector booster pack
I'll try to be
opportunity
real
there.
brief, but my biggest complaint, and if you've seen a video from a while back, was that the cards were all different sizes. They weren't cut evenly. And from what I understand, I think that's been remedied for Call of the Stones. I don't know, but that was my biggest complaint. I thought, well, that's really weird. The cards are different sizes. But other than that, I literally feel like I'm just sitting back and enjoying the ride because, like I said, the team is so on point. Every time they come out with an announcement, I just get so thrilled. And when Jeff came out and said, "It's going to be grassroots. We're going to nail this game," because and I was thinking in my mind right before he said that, the thing that needs to happen is the game. And I know a lot of people say, and even looking over here in the comments, people say, "I'm a collector, I haven't played the game yet." Man, you have to play the game because the game is so amazingly fun. And when Jeff came out and said, "We're going to nail this game. We're going to go we're not going to go grassroots. We're going to hit it." I just thought that's what I want to hear. It's exactly what I want to hear.
Yeah, and to your point is, on the other side, you said, I'm not playing, I'm just collecting. And then Jay says, I didn't plan on collecting, just playing, but I happened to pull a stone out of my case of collector boosters. The itch to get more hits is very real. So here is, and I will say is that, and Branch and I were talking a little bit before we went on the air, is that I was talking about Firefly at the first public game day. This was back in February of 2024, I think. And when I went there, and I interviewed a number of the people who were they were there at their local LGS, and this was very early. Nobody knew about Wonders. And I interviewed all of them, and it's something, Gabe, that your father-in-law Alpha and I talked about, is that you talk to every gamer, and they will almost spit on collectors, the real hardcore gamers, see them as evil. But the next thing they talk about is their collection. And it's just like, you're a collector. And it's amazing. We all have that in our lives. We're too blind to see ourselves. But the biggest gamer is the biggest collector too. And I will say, like, you two, after Tex asked that question, you guys are like, tell us your worst attribute in the job interview. And you guys are like, I work too hard. And it's just like, that's not what Tex was looking for. But Gabe, the fact that, like, Wonders has worked so well with Shockham Comics to work with you guys on canon so you kind of can develop it. And with Emma, I can't imagine there's anything you'd say, but if you could bail us out here, is there anything you would change about Wonders?
No pressure.
Come on, give it to us.
So I will tell you, I'm not really a gamer, tabletop gamer. I never have been. I collected Pokemon cards whenever I was a kid. I have a binder right back here that I have as a touchstone to my past. I love buying and selling cards. Obviously, I've done that in the past, but I've never been much of a gamer until I tried Wonders. And, it was like accessing a new part of my brain, trying to learn how to play a game like this for the first time. But I have to say, like, it was sort of shockingly easy to pick up. And, you're at the Shattering, you're kind of playing this thing and you're learning as you're going. Grace totally kicked my butt whenever we played. And I have to say, after a game or two, it's like, oh, I want to play this more. I couldn't get enough of it. Like, I just wanted to keep playing. So I think I wouldn't say I would change anything. I have to agree with what Texan said. Continue doing what you're doing. Maybe have some content out there that is really, really like, it's almost like talking to a third grader easy on how to play the game and what some of these terms mean. And, getting some content out there that, like, simplifies it. I know there is content out there right now, and no shade to that, but some of it is kind of hard to follow as someone that did try and get into it. So I would say just, continue developing, making it easy for people to, like, latch on and jump on. Mm-hmm. And, what we're doing at Shotgun, we definitely want to give a story that can do the cards justice, basically, is kind of what we're always trying to do, is like, regardless of how you view the characters or the game or whatever, it's like when you see the card and you see what we're doing, are you able to kind of bridge the gap yourself and get invested in what's going on? So I don't really have anything to change. I would just say keep doing what you're doing. It's really fun to watch.
And Bastodon, did you have any thought?
Well, a lot of my thoughts about this overlap with Boba, but for the right reasons. I think Scott and I talked ahead of time, and he's going to champion Wonders, and I'm going to champion Boba, for obvious reasons. But there's
you are the champ.
So
literally.
So in the past 2 days, in the past 48 hours, literally, I've heard so much accurate hype that's drawn me to a place of, somebody thought I was probably text messaging over here, but I'm adding, November 7th or 10th into my calendar. I'm like, I have an idea of where I need to be that weekend. But so the gameplay and the way that it's so let me make the transition really from Bubba. My 8-year-old son was sitting at his match for the Madness in Wonders. Boba. And by the way, I'm sure nobody doesn't know how to play Boba because it's war, so to speak. But it's not. It's chess. And I talked to my 10-year-old, my 8-year-old on the drive up to the National, where I told them, hey guys, I'm thinking about this strategy for my play. They didn't know I was talking about for their play. And I gave it to them and they were like, okay, yeah, this works. And then when they got ready to play, we had a teammate that was ready to help my 8-year-old. He's like, I got it. And I think I talked about this in one of our earlier interviews. I know what I'm doing. I think I know what you're doing. And there's a dynamic that's more than just flip cards. It's war. It's like, I need to position my things in a way that's like, okay, there's another level to it. But at its core, it's really just flip cards. And so when Gabe talks about, I hear about this game and I'm like, I understand this right away. And I really want to play it more. I'm enticed to get into something that, and I saw some comment before about, I've been playing Magic since 1994. Hey, I hear you, brother. I've been there. And the thing that happened in that game was it's very good, and then it broke down with the community. In this, the community is not breaking down. The community is the reason people are staying attracted to it. And I think that the overlap between Boba and Wonders is identical. People are looking for something that's fresh and got people ready to give to each other. Well, that actually speaks to where I disagree with, unless somebody ultimately spun around and said the same thing, but where you got these collector's packs inside of these player packs. Well, I've got over here in my inventory, absolutely. I get those player sets, and I'm like, "There's my knife. Let me open this up. Let me take that pack out of there. Let me open it. Let me see if I hit something that I couldn't have resisted." But I'm also instantly going to give away that player set to somebody who's like, "How do you play?" I was like, "Well, you know what? The stuff I'm mailing you, I'm putting one of these in there for you." And so they're not losing value there. They're in fact increasing the player base from the collector base. And so it's a weird dynamic, but everybody wants to give stuff away. They're like, I don't need this. I've got all these stuff I can play, but I need somebody else to be able to be there. So, I don't think any of that has anything to do with what makes Wonders or Boba better. Honestly, I'm like, leave that exactly the way it is. The marketing of this is something that I think it's well warned by things that have failed in the past. I will say, and I love it that there's passionate debate on both sides of this, to where I think that Wonders is going to be the thing that breaks the mold. And I completely disagree. I think that Wonders is going to come right behind Boba breaking the mold.
No.
No.
And here's the reason. I think that Wonders, and I'm going to learn to play it. And maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe I'll get there. But I'm
yet. Come on,
no,
man.
That's the reason that I make this point. I have thousands of dollars invested in Wonders. I love it. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's cool. And I have a not correctly stated number of dollars invested in both. And I can tell you
a little bit more. A little bit more.
I have a little bit more.
A little bit more.
And I can tell you that as soon as my kids got involved, they're like, I'm all in. I'm playing this game. I'm doing this. And the dynamics, I'm familiar enough. Filizino, ironically, has actually been kind of bringing me into the fold, teaching me a little bit about the game. I think both games are going to be incredibly playable. But one of them is instantly going to suck in the family. And my wife hates TCGs, and she's just, it's all she can do not to cuss us, until we really pulled her in. And now she's like, I can maybe help with mailing if that's something that needs to come up. Or, you know what? Yes, I will open these packs with you boys. And so I know that dynamic permeates both layers, but one is definitely going to just pull in. I can justify doing this because when I tell my wife I'm doing this, she sees me doing it with the kids. And so I'm allowed to invest a little bit more.
I think with Branch kind of getting it, we'll get into Shoot Straight. And actually, one thing I want to close out, and actually, Ben, before we do that, but Be a Hero Gaming, is that I want you to, your segment where you talked about like, why are they so expensive? Why can't you find anything? I just wanted to put a plug in again for Shockham Comics. They have physical copies of their comic, which are not expensive and you can get. So if you're looking for something from the Wonders universe, definitely pick up, which I have the editions. So I love my editions of Emma Rise
You
of the
gotta
Dead.
have physical copies. You gotta have the
that
physical.
plug in there. But I will say, so Branch is going to talk about, so Shoot Straight is he's going to talk to us about a number of things that he's doing for the Boba and the Wonders community, including pricing, which we all know it's very hard. Pricing for the Wonders and the Boba cards. He's also going to talk. Well, we'll see everything he wants to share with us. But to open it up, and actually, Branch kind of started going down that path. And Ben, we'll let you go first, since you were animating. I'll give Texan another chance just to talk about it. But and just to let you guys know, I will chop this up afterwards, and I'll say it live. It's like this. You guys, I was saying to Tex this morning and Jenna, like, this is great. Like, their content's all 7 to 10 minutes. This is very much like, this goes back to the early roots of the Block Packs days 4 years ago, where we would do X Spaces and Frenchie would come on and we'd be in hour 4 and it'd be midnight on the East Coast. And Frenchie would be like, we probably should go. And I'd be looking at the numbers behind him like, Jeff, I'm telling you right now, we're at our peak. And like, what would happen is the people on the East Coast wouldn't go to bed and the people on the West Coast put their kids down and they were joining. And like, we'd go 4 hours. So it's like, you guys are safe. We're not going to take your safe harbor, like short run content, which is the smart way to go. But this is what we try to do in this show, is we try to take it out of Discord, which is, it's never good when you're doing electronic back and forth. You don't have the same conversation. You lose people's intentions. People can say things and it's taken the wrong way. So we, just to let you know, you each will be highlighted after this. So I just wanted to let you know that as we wrap up this, because it's going to be a 2-hour show.
And one quick thing before, I just want to acknowledge there's been some great talk in the chat here and some back and forth.
Yes.
So it definitely read the chat as you're watching this video.
All right, let me set it up, Tex, and then I'll let you read the chat. So one of the things that Branch and I talked about, and I get taken to mean that I'm somehow not pro Boba. I am very pro Boba. I'm very high on Boba. But as Galileo and Branch and everyone knows, is if you ask me which has a greater chance to succeed, Wonders or Boba, I without hesitation will say Wonders. I say it every time, and I'm not a huge gamer, but I also was at that first public game day in February 2024. I was at the first Winter Brawl for Boba. I've watched these things, how they unfold, and I have my views. I can't remember. Was it you, American Texan, or was it Oz? It was calling out somebody in the Discord for saying, stop stating things like they're facts. That's your opinion. It's like, I have my opinion about why I think Wonders is. So I'd love to hear from you guys on that before we actually get into Shoot Straight. And with that said, while you guys think about that, is that Tex, do you want to hit the comments?
Yeah, there was just some great conversation between Capricorn and Blaze and Porglet. They were just having throwing out some ideas, and they brought up some pretty good points. I mean, it's a lot here to read. I'll leave the audience to read for themselves, but I just wanted to make sure people were aware that there was some great talk in the chat.
And I do want
to
to
go ahead and take a look at that.
To your point is, we'll highlight, I put it up on the screen, but it's worth mentioning as well, which Capricorn, everybody knows, he's certainly one of, and by the way, credit to Capricorn. He couldn't work out for him to be here. He was gracious, just like everybody else was going to come on, but he had another engagement, but he looks forward to coming on again in the future. So obviously he's a great content creator. Should have mentioned that in the beginning. Thank you for watching live. But Capricorn, I think when he says it's actually better as a game than as a collectible, which is not knocking it as a collectible, because they nailed it in that respect, but it's the best game in existence. This coming from a guy that has played MTG since 1994 and never thought it could ever be topped. So that kind of started the conversation. Then yes, to your point with Blaze and Porklet, appreciate not only the audience who's been watching, but also the great comments that you guys have there. I'll tell you what, Tex, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw it up on the screen next to us so folks can also see that while they're watching it. And then Ben, but your thoughts in terms of like Branch threw down, and I loved your reaction when Branch goes, Boba's better than Wonders, and I haven't played it. And it's like, do you want to? Is that your argument? Or are you just gonna leave it there?
It's more fun if people disagree. It's more fun, right? To get some conversations going. If we all disagree, it's not as fun.
I agree.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I will say,
Boba's best. Boba's best.
good. Well,
No.
a couple points real quick. Capricorn makes a very good point in that I thought Magic couldn't be topped. I thought it's just going to be king of the world forever. But there was a couple of gripes I had with it, and I won't name all, but there's a bunch of things that would bother me about the game. And Wonders fixed all of those. All of those things were fixed with Wonders. The biggest one being, if someone has a big play, the game's over. There's not much you can do. And it took me a while to wrap my head around the fact that when I'm playing Wonders, if someone takes one realm, forget about that. There's 6 others you can go after. You don't have to worry about that one. Fine, you can have that one. I'll go after these others. So the game is amazing. And if you're a collector and you haven't tried the game yet, you've got to try it out. But I'll also say, you can see over here that I have dabbled in Boba a little bit. And the thing that got me going on that is I got a few free packs from buying some Home Team Heroes, and they sat on the shelf for the 6 packs. They sat on the shelf forever. And my son's like, Dad, we can open those packs? No, I don't. I'm not a Boba guy. We're not going to do that. Dad, let's open the packs. And how am I supposed to resist when I want to open them and my kids are pressuring me? Come on, guys, cut me some slack. So one night, we're like, let's open the pack, guys. We open it up and like we're going through, and I tried to do some research and the treatments, trying to wrap my head around that. Holy moly, man! Wonders is straightforward. Wonders is like paper to stone foil. It's really straightforward. I'm trying to wrap my head around the mixtapes and the tracks and the Miami Ice, and I'm like, there's so many treatments. I'm just okay, whatever. So we're opening up packs. We're going through, and I remember posting on the Discord. I pulled a Miami Ice and put it on there, and I was like, I imagine this one's a banger. Like, I don't know when someone's freaked out. Said, that's like a 5. There's only like 5 of those in existence. In these 6 packs I opened up, and that got me. Then I had to buy some more stuff, and I was opening more packs, and we were making decks, and we got the starter sets, and we started playing. And I admit, and Jeff was a little worried because Jeff made a comment like, just so you know, Ben, this isn't as complicated as Wonders. So I know you like to really dive into the deck tech stuff. And I was like, hey, no, I'm in. And we played and we had a good time. And I will say, Branch, it's a fun game. And I like the collectibles. I like the auto cards. But I think Wonders might be a little bit better.
So I'm scared to bring you into the fold. I'm scared to, in poker you say don't feed the fish. But I feel like I'm compelled to do this.
Okay.
So as a Magic player for decades, as player who played with the literal elite players and play tested with them and was just below that level, so you didn't see me on the stage there at the end. I can tell you that, and I see Portlet's comment there about it appeals to a smaller audience, but it has less depth in gameplay. Depth and diversity are not the same thing. And so there's a lot more diversity, I think, in the Wonders play. And I say that not having played, but I see not the treatments of the cards, but the consistency of rarity, and you've got your orbitals, and like I can conceive of how the play is. I'm excited to get better at the game, and by better I mean play it for the first time. But stop! I played Wonders for the first time, and then 5 matches later, I won the world championship. So there's a relevant
Branch. You can't win both. You can't be the champ in Wonders.
Back off,
your
man.
mouth.
Back off.
It's one or the other. Come on,
You can't
stay in your lane.
That's what I was just gonna say. Stay in your lane.
I want you to know that there's a lot of room for sharing love here. I can win and give credit to everybody in both of these games. So, but what I want you to know is the depth that is with Boba is far more akin to the Magic game. Doesn't seem like, because you're looking at the cards and these look like Magic cards and these look like a sports Pokemon. And they just don't have text, so it's even better. I don't even have to read anything. I know that a 165 beats a 145. Wait, no, I'm actually playing Apex. I know that a 150 beats a 135. So, but there is so much more to there's a poker element with Boba that cannot exist in any other environment. And that's where the intellect means that maybe an 8-year-old can actually beat an adult who's got a strategy, and I just got a straight line of I know how people think, because his dad told him, and we're going to win. And so we didn't even have the most powerful decks. Well, in Wonders, I know that there's another wonderful element of that too, where you can play with paper cards, or you can pimp out your deck and you can play all with Formless. Or if you're somehow a big baller, not ever going to be me, play all with OCMs. Well,
I thought you were going to say stone foils. Play with all stone foils.
no. So you get on my level with one of ones and boba, and then we'll talk stone foils. But thank you.
Actually, Branch, Broughton had a comment, which is from what I hear, boba is more a pay to win experience. Would you say
completely false? Completely false. And I will use Seatown as an example. Seatown went to the first region. No, so I will tell you that I probably had the most expensive deck at the national. Not boasting there, but like the reason is I'm a collector. So I put the best treatments of cards and I had a full deck. I didn't have to cut back on anything to play the deck that was going to win. Now I will tell you this too though. Seatown had a more tuned deck when I beat him, and just there are a lot of elements that can fall to chance. But that's going to be the same thing with Wonders. I mean, I know that when I got my first tabletop experience that I didn't finish playing, that it was like, yeah, I got to mulligan 3 of these cards because I don't even have a land. Well, the same variability is going to apply across every game. Otherwise, why play it? It's like, here, grab a quarter. Let's see who gets heads and who gets tails. Well, there's a lot of variability that actually involves the I've got to do something better. And so like Seatown or several others that are more experienced, they're going to do things that are like, I've got my deck right, but the thought process that goes behind how to play boba is absolutely poker. And if you overlook that, you're missing what's involved there. So anyway, they're two different games. They're two.
I'll tell you what, Jen and Tex, if you're okay, we'll spend just a couple minutes more here. Then we'll let our great guests, Gabe and American Texas and Ben, who've been on here with us, we'll let them go and talk to Branch. But American Texan, you've been kind of like the old Hollywood squares. Now I'm really showing my age, but it's like you're in between, Ben and Branch there. But like, what's your experience with boba, if any?
None whatsoever. Equivalent to my experience with dry cleaning chemicals. You
gotta talk.
You guys talking about Wonders versus boba might as well be my kids talking about Minecraft versus Roblox. I don't care. In fact, in my little mailbox down here, I still have a pack of boba. I've been trying to trade someone for a pack of Wonders, and no one wants to give me that deal. I don't know why. I'm not going to open it because I don't know what I'm opening. Maybe I'll just send it to Ben because he's got hot hands. Hot hands Ben over there.
Yeah.
Like Capricorn
forget be a hero gaming. Hot hands Ben. That's your new name. I just
stuff.
I've got to I protect myself by saying no to a lot of things, and I could go into boba. No. I'm still trying to tell myself the next one's Cosmic. Is that right? The next imagination.
Yeah.
I'm trying really hard to preemptively say no so I can stay focused on boba. Because if I go into Cosmic, I'm gonna have to stop going to the comic shop. I think. But anyways, I am not in the boba community at all. That's why I'm sitting here falling asleep answering work emails while y'all are talking, which is more power to you.
I got room for you on Team Shoot Straight, American Texan. Let's talk.
I'm good.
Let's see. And by the way, we did Blaze had. He said, before I'll close out and thank you, could you please inform everyone when we will meet again? I'm going to pop up and say hello next meeting and debate with Cap on gaming versus collecting. So interesting is that it is kind of interesting that this product is that Wonders, because Frenchie has that marriage of collecting and gaming, it seems to be he's almost bringing the people arguing into the same room, whereas like they've been arguing in separate countries, and like Frenchie's like, let's all put them at the Thanksgiving dinner table together, and that's kind of what the Wonders project is. So I will just say, for me on the Wonders, why I don't hesitate is that obviously we know how successful boba is, how well it's doing. But I will also tell you this is like when I went to that first public game day, when nobody knew anything about Wonders at Firefly, the people were at the LGS just to show up for game day. They wandered over and, Wonders did say, hey, come on over, try this new game. Like, we'll give you some swag or something. And it ended at 5:00. And probably half the people who were playing wouldn't leave. And I remember, I can't remember who it was, going up to Jeff and be like, hey, what do we do? They won't leave. And Jeff's like, let them play. And so it's like, we're going to stay and let these guys play. These people would not stop playing it. And it's funny because Jeff mentioned it afterwards, but being there real, to see these people who are real players, like just not being able to leave it because they liked it that much. And then you go to the first Winter Brawl, where it was in Columbia, the headquarters for Wonders and Boba, and they had a total of 16 slots, I think. And they actually didn't fill all 16 slots. They didn't fill it. And you think how many people are in Columbia, South Carolina? Like, you have to drive, but it's like, my God, Seatown, Branch mentioned him, but Seatown drives 15 hours to go to different places. And he was there. He was there at that event. But if you think about that, is that you couldn't fill that. And I told people, by the way, at the beginning of that, I said, listen, stick around this event to the end, because the way Frenchie is, there's always a surprise for the people who show up and make the effort. Don't leave. And so people didn't listen to me, and I'm going to give Troy's Karchak a hard time, Jen's teammate from Apex Madness. I told Troy I had a further drive. I had to go back. I was staying with family in Wilmington. He was going back to Independence, Virginia. And I said, don't leave early. So what does Frenchie do at the end of the first tournament where he gave out a Bow 99 card worth thousands of dollars? Frenchie goes, you know what? Let's run another tournament. I'm going to give everybody a booster box, I think is what we got. Everybody gets a booster box, make a deck from it, and I'm going to give away another Bow card. Do you know there were 8 of us who played in that? 8 of us. And the sad part is my son, Yo-Yo, and I, who kind of are together like 3 out of 8, and we still couldn't win that damn Bow card. Although my son came down to the finals against Bear. But when I was, my point is, like, there's a lot of excitement and like the product's great, but I'm just saying is there's a rabidness to the Wonders fan that I don't believe is the same. Like, people love the Bow product. There is a rabidness on the Wonders part. And I see there's much, much more passion. I also, when I interviewed people at Firefly, these people, again, my experience, like they don't like collectors. But what they talked about is they didn't like the changes that Magic and others did, where they're like, I had a collection worth $5,000. They reprinted this and now it's worthless. And the people who said they hate collectors are talking to me about value and what happened to it. But it also told me, like, some of these people, their life happenstance, like, I was shocked that they have a $5,000 collection. You know, I couldn't afford that. And, you know, it may be unfair of me, but like, I looked at these folks at their disposable income, and I'm just like, this is a big way of life, and we all have our passions. So I'm not degrading that at all. Like, but this is what they choose to do. Like, if you're somebody who you know, one of my relatives is like, his son was going to be the next race car driver, so they bought a van, they had the go-kart, they were making the circuit. That was their passion, that father and son, and that's great. They had that together. But I'm just saying is, for people in the Wonders, they're willing to spend beyond their disposable income. They have that type of passion for Wonders. And then in addition to that, Brian Tinsman is the Bo Jackson of the gaming world. And I think that gets lost because everybody knows who Bo Jackson is, and they get excited.
I'm sorry, Slap. I got to stop you right there. Bo Jackson is the Tinsman of sports. Okay, let's get that.
That's a bold statement right there.
And this comes from a huge Bo fan, by the way, like the athlete.
I have said that a number of times, and I'm glad you corrected me to say that. But it's interesting, right? It's that sports bias. People don't understand. I mean, I walk into LGSs in the middle of nowhere because I travel a lot, and I will mention, when I mention Wonders and they haven't heard of it, if I talk about Brian Tinsman, they know him. And I'm like, well, if you want to know his latest game, this is what you want. Now, I'm sure Branch will come back, but here's where I look at it, is that the storyline in the game that they can create, it can go on forever in theory. The problem I have with Boba, and by the way, I think Boba's really successful. I have a lot of money in Boba. I think it's doing well. It's going to do well. But here's my only concern is the list of heroes that they put out. The reason why they have to reach back to Wade Boggs and Magic Johnson, right, is because, and what Topps has working against it, Topps has to put out every baseball player for this year. Well, the reality is a lot of them suck. You got to put out everybody on the Miami Marlins, and they're just going to suck, and nobody wants it. That's why you rip those boxes and you get crap cards. But with Boba, there are no crap cards, right? What's the worst you get? Magic Johnson, but it's just not a fancy, parallel. So what's going to happen, though, when they go through all the current players, all the historical players? Like, Frenchie is a visionary. He's going to come up with something and figure out some new way, like, to keep it going. But it's a challenge. The other challenge is, what if Topps and Fanatics, the same company, but they decide they're going to go after this model, and they're going to use the distribution model and their greater marketing push to push them out. I'm a big believer in Boba. I have a lot of money invested. And I would say with Wonders, there is Magic. There's a couple of biggies. There's Disney's trying with Lorcana. to a certain extent, it's harder, but it's easier. It's harder because you have behemoths you have to take down, but it's easier because the target's right there. And also, people are looking for an alternative. And so that's what Wonders is fighting to be. I think they both have great futures. I just look at Brian Tinsman. I look at the path that they're carving over in Wonders that nobody's done before. I don't think Magic or Lorcana has the ability to adapt and become like Wonders. They're too arrogant. They're too big. They're too bureaucratic. So that's why I think both are gonna succeed, but I think Wonders is gonna lead the way eventually, and they'll pull Bobo along. Branch.
Yes,
So
Branch.
I gotta make one point. So lifelong sports fan. If you saw my basement, you would think, "Wow, you've got more cards than you have books." I've got them lining the walls. I will tell you that the sports fan base is more rabid than any other base, as evidenced by how many streamers are doing Panini and Tops and fan tracks and on whatnot, and what's going on eBay. And that price, I know, as much as there are people that are selling out all of their sports collections to get into Wonders or Boba, you will never run out of heroes that people are going to chase in the sports world. There is not a cap. I could personally flesh out the next 15 sets of heroes and there be no breakdown in the number of chases in those sets.
That's 5 years. That's 5 years.
Okay, so at the end of 5 years, I trust that the model that's built this will adapt. But in 5
you
years,
got to remember,
yeah. No, go ahead. Jack.
with Boba too, every year there's new players coming into the NBA, into the NFL.
But the ones you care about is that's 2 or 3.
Right. But you can still, like, I don't think anybody have a problem with Magic Johnson being in next year's set either.
Well, you know what?
autographs and
I can help that because there's a concept of sustainability. You've got feature heroes and you got debut heroes, and when you get to the end of the line, ostensibly, not 15 because that's what I can do off the top of my head, but let's say it's 25, which would be what, 7.5 years. Then you go back and you look at which of those feature heroes need to be debut heroes now, and now you've got a whole new pool that gets you 5 more years while you're still working through the guys that didn't sign over the first 7 years because they were under contract with Upper Deck. I'm not saying who that would be or any other people. Or now you've got all of your international pool of players because now there's stores throughout Europe and Korea and Japan that are like, I must get, the first showtime and then the ones that are later. And so anyway, I had to say, like, no, there's no lack of sustainability problems with I'm sure either game. And to be clear, I'm also not, when I say I think Boba is going to be the dominant game in the future, and I know we're going to talk into pricing here in just a minute. I don't in any way diminish where Wonders is. I'm actually excited about where I'm probably going to be in the next 2 weeks, gearing up for November 7th, where Tex thinks that I can't do both. But
I didn't say that. I didn't say you couldn't.
He said
I love you backing out there. I appreciate that. So now,
which by the way, Branch, is you met C-Town. Are you in? Well, I think you guys knew each other for the service, but you also were involved in the game side, right? You guys.
We've been gamers together. We didn't compete. We went places together. Like, we're literally best friends.
But your game experience was it Magic, or what was your game experience?
Magic. Okay. And so I mean, you see where. Neither of us won Magic World Championships, but we were both right there on the edge. He's legitimately a better Magic player than I am. But, when we get into this game that's got some dynamics that are yet to be exploited, honestly, I will tell you, if C-Town gets into Wonders, be afraid. I mean, like, afraid.
And that's the reason why I wanted people to understand that about Branch is he's so well known in Boba because he won the world championship, is that people don't really know his. And when I was learning about him in C-Town, is like his background on the TCG side is that he has bona fides there. And so I think sometimes people see it like cocky, this simple surface level game, Boba, and he's going to come over and he's going to dominate and wonders like, how can he do that? Is like, I would be scared of Branch. I would be scared of Branch early.
I'd be scared of C-Town. Be prepared to have a good time if you play.
American. We'll start with Gabe and then give you guys a final word. Gabe, I appreciate you guys coming on. Gabe from Shotgun Comics. Of course, he just talked to us about how you can get the physical. We put that in the video. We'll put this in the description so people can go and get the physical copies. We'll also we'll put the link where you can read the latest copies online. Anything else, Gabe, that you want to add?
No, not really. Thanks so much for having me. It was awesome to hear you guys talk about all this stuff, and really appreciative to be a part of this community. Love being able to connect with all of you guys, and yeah, just thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Gav. Bye, Gabe. Have a good one.
Thanks,
See you later.
kid.
All right, American Texan is that. Thank you so much. And by the way, I just want to say that thank you so much for doing the face reveal. You 100% should be having your face on there, because it's like you could sell it. Like there's some people, Tex likes to say, some faces are meant for radio, and some are not. So get your face out there. Oh, give me a break.
I appreciate that. People don't know this. This is my third YouTube channel. I've grown YouTube channels before. I've been the face of other YouTube channels. I just wanted to just not have to worry about, again, at 9:30 at night, doing my hair, making sure my shirt's kept. Let me just get behind the camera.
That's what
and
hands
just
are
record
for.
my hands.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, or this.
Thank you,
Yeah, or
American
this.
Texan. This is what I've been trying to explain
So,
to these.
You're getting me. You're getting me because I'm literally like, I worked before this. I'm gonna work after this. Like I don't want to have to worry about that. I just want to jump behind my phone and just record a video. So,
Texan, what
yeah.
are the other two? What are the other two YouTube channels you built up?
Nah, we're not gonna worry about that today.
All right, and did you? What's the plan with American Texan? Are you going to build it up to a point where you're going to spin it off, or are you going? What? How long is this?
Step one is to get to monetization standpoint, so I can write all this crap off. Strategically work with my CPA to make sure that we are paying all of our taxes appropriately to service the country. Yeah, that's the first goal. Is just I want to be able to get to that point of YouTube monetization, and I want it to be something that is. It is fun to create. It is right now my creative outlet. I believe that everyone needs a creative outlet. For some, it might be deck building. For some, it might be drawing. For some, it might be doing that. This is my creative outlet. I've built two businesses, or I've built a business that's running itself now. I'm building a second one, and that can become pretty tough. And then also, raising these kids and all that, and being creative with them. But it's not quite there. So, like, to me, it's just something fun that I can do. Hopefully I can take advantage of the tax code at the same time with it. But if we can build a little community, I have no interest of, creating my own little Patreon or no knock against that. I just want to have fun. I want to, grind it out, like every other millennial is doing right now. And I just want to share my passion. I want to talk about it. We live in such an isolated society. I look forward. I go to church every Sunday. I go to my comic book shop every Wednesday. Those are like my communities. And there's some people that don't have that for whatever reason. Location, social anxiety, or just not knowing how to get involved. I want to be that stepping stone. I want to be that community. That's why in every video I say, hey, comment down below. What are you reading? What are you trading? What are you playing? What combos do you want to talk about? That's, to me, that's the stuff that I want to build, is just let's just nerd out together.
Hey, Ben, does it sound like he's taking a page from your life coach? He's starting to sound like a life coach right now. That's a good thing, Texan.
You guys need to get together and write a self-help book for the collector.
No, but in all honesty, that's great, American Texan, for creating that community for people who can watch your content. By the way, I will say, you guys might have noticed is that I have, 20 Google accounts and YouTube. So I've been you might have seen new subscriptions. I was subscribed to you guys before, but I have my main Google account from which the main Google account that I'm in, I can't subscribe to anything. I'm banned from YouTube. And it goes back to when my wife was deployed and I sent something via private video that had nothing to do with the public, but apparently YouTube, they monitor everything, public or private, and they've never let me back on. So that's just a TMI for everybody. I was like, it was actually a very innocent thing. But my point is, I can't subscribe. So you guys might have seen a new Radish subscription, but I love your content. In American Texan, the fact that you just, I think that you keep it very relatable, to your point about the community. And I also want to talk about Tex, I'm surprised you didn't mention it, but you did your shipping. The shipping one.
The shipping episode, yeah.
Which is so important to the community. But like when you talk about it, like that stuff is like, I know everybody wants to do the sexy content, like how many Emmas there are, and we need that. But like the shipping is like, that's what the community needs, right? How much time do we spend in Discord talking about it?
It's not just for our community. It's also for people to discover the game. You'll notice all these videos, how to ship, how to collect, how I organize. All those are very intentionally SEO to get people who are not necessarily Wonders people to discover, because there are other trading card players who are going to search. Oh, I got to do my first online trade. Like, how do I ship it? Or, man, I got too many cards for one long sleeve box. How do I organize my boxes or whatever? So it is to definitely be a place for our community to kind of nerd out together and see what others are doing. I love the feedback. I wish it was in my YouTube comments, but I get messages like, hey, you should try this for your organization, or you should try this top loader or whatever. And I'm like, dude, why didn't you put that in the comments? I need the engagement. But I strategically SEO those videos again, because other TCG players are looking for those things. New player. I mean, you talk about new athletes are coming up in the major leagues for next year's Boba release. Well, new kids are getting jobs every day, and they're using their disposable money to buy TCGs. And then they figure out now they're 18, so they can get on Discord. Now they're doing Discord trades. Well, how do I do a Discord trade? And we live in a society where we don't necessarily ask our friends or contacts or colleagues. We go online and we Google. So I want the videos to be there to, yes, help them with their TCG journey, but also say, hey, if you haven't checked out Wonders, this is a great place. And guess what? They click on my shipping video. Now they're going to get recommended videos from me, but also my video is tagged on the back end with Wonders content. So now there's a chance they can also get Wonders content like Ben's or Grace's. So, I appreciate you guys watching and subscribing, but that's the goal. So help me get engagement on the channel. Yes, for my numbers, but also because that's how we reach more people.
Amen. All right, American.
All about growth.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ben.
I think you're muted, Ben.
I was kidding. I'm not muted. I was just being you for a second.
Oh.
No.
We still can't hear you, Ben.
Oh no, Ben, we still can't hear you.
Hopefully we can get Ben. We know you had a family member probably come in and you had to tell them, yes, I know I've been on for 2 hours, but
Also still not muted.
No. Live TV ain't nothing like it.
That's
All
right. Ben can jump on here. What I'll do? Well, I don't know. You're probably going to edit a bunch of this out. I'm guessing, right? When we get it into
it's also like what? Ben, you want to try it one more time?
No.
And by the way, American Texan was looking forward to one of the life coach lessons that Ben was going to give us. All right. Hey, Ben, why don't you try just exiting and coming back in? We'll see, and we'll give you that goodbye for you.
Definitely come back, because I feel like I need somebody to talk to here that's going to be a friend.
Yeah.
Hey,
You could be-
I mean, Tex is first telling me I can't win both championships. Slappy's telling me I got these problems with thinking that both was better than Wonders, and Jen, she's just not weighing in. I'm like, Ben,
Jen Sweden.
Ben.
All right, hold on. Let's see. Ben? No. All right. We're gonna do Ben. Do you know American Sign Language? Because we actually don't have a signer. And if you did, you could sign your goodbye, and we could get closed caption for that after.
You can obviously hear us though.
Yeah. All right, Ben. Well, listen. The most important thing is be a hero gaming. Ben is like, you want to catch his content. Honestly, is that one of the easiest people to listen to. You feel like you're listening to a friend, and your friend who's the easiest to listen to. So appreciate your time giving us 2 hours today. So
and stay on and do like this when everybody else is doing this. Okay, because I think there's some engagement that the two of us need to have here when we talk about what's going on with Shoot Straight. So I don't know if I'm shooting Scott down here. He's like, no, I want to get rid of Ben because his microphone's not working. But there's a whole lot of good positive vibes you can send here.
Well, it's.
We'll keep Ben on, and if he figures out his technical issues, we'll.
But one thing Ben wants to know before we go, and I know the answer to this: are you on Branch's side? Ben wants to know, Jen, if you're on Branch's side.
Oh.
If on Branch's side, that Boba is going to pull along Wonders. Is that the side
No, just on my side. That's the
just
only
on
question.
your side.
Just in general.
Just in general.
Just in general.
In life, are you?
I would say I'm probably more on Branch's side than not.
Good enough. No need to say anymore.
She is such a divorce. And wait, and Tex, you never weighed in, although Ben didn't ask that. But we know you made your decision. You're focusing on the Boba silo, and you're stepping away from Wonders, right?
just because I think there's a lot of overlap with the games. I think a lot of there's great things about both games that'll appeal to both Boba people and Wonders people. I think there'll be some crossover, but I definitely think that the games appeal to two separate groups of people. I think Boba goes for maybe a younger, more family orientated crowd because it's easier to play, it's a little easier to learn, and athletes are incredibly relatable, especially to kids. And kids love to collect sports cards, they love to collect their favorite players, and autographs obviously are a huge driver. Where Wonders, amazing game, amazing product, but appeals to, at least the way I see it, is more of a older crowd, not as many younger kids, and to more of the hardcore TCG gamer person that wants to go to their local card shop and play in tournaments and stuff like that. I think Boba is a little more kid and family friendly, where I think Wonders is like the next step up from Boba in skill level and kind of play type and everything. So I think it appeals to two different people. I lean personally just a little more towards Boba because I'm
You're
more
a simple
of a sports
person.
guy.
You're a simple person.
I'm very simple. Yes,
No,
simple tastes.
I think it's very interesting when you ask, because I fully believe, because I'm sort of in this similar camp to Tex, and I made comments of kind of pulling back on Wonders a bit, but I think it's more of the, if you want to look at the OG block packs group, we all came 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and it was all sports. Like everyone came on board because of the sports, the cards, that kind of environment. So to then now go and have Wonders and everything, to Tex's point, it is a different group, I think. So I think a lot of the old time block packs crew is really more along the Boba path, and you need the kind of new influx of TCG players to grab onto the whole Wonder side, which they're good, which obviously there is, which is fantastic, and there are a bunch of people that do both.
Now, what I love about this is that Tex is part of a group that has we hold 10 stone foils. So Tex is part of a group where we hold 10 stone foils. So when he says he's pulling back, what I like is he probably has a greater participation in Wonders from a collector standpoint, not a flipper, but a collector's, than most people. Like the amount of money he has still invested, and that's stepping back for Tex. So,
I'm pulling back more as from a financial standpoint. Just because I can't afford to go so deep into each.
Did you get any Call of the Stone Advantage boxes, Dragon boxes?
I have a couple.
How many?
Yes.
How many?
Only two. Two as of right now.
But that's the point. You're pulling back as two Dragon boxes.
I'm getting out completely. I'm just pulling back a little.
Okay.
Well, if the old me would have had 20. Now I have.
Wait, was that Ben?
I have 20 Griffey boxes coming.
Yeah. Oh, he's back! Yay!
You're back!
The thing is, I don't mean to interrupt you, Tex. The thing I was going to say earlier is I thought the Gen Con is an awesome name. When you explain that, how your last name, that totally ties in. That is so cool. I thought that is so awesome.
Ben's actually official OG because we both went that same place where it's like, oh, you're literally branding off of GEN Con, and like, okay, well now. All right, so I'm with you, Ben. I got to throw out there's this third consumer where I want to represent. So I'm going to be leaning into Wonders. I'm certainly going to stay where I am in Boba, but I can't wait for is it Mystics or the new one that's coming out?
Cosmics.
I can't wait for that to come out because if it's anything like the structure of what we've seen in Wonders and Boba, you better get in now. And it's not because I've got the money to spend. It all went to Boba. It's gone. But well, the part that didn't go to Wonders. But I can't wait to get in that because I know it's going to appeal to a segment that I don't think one is better than the other. I think that you lean into something and you're like, I like this. And you've got enough time for, well, maybe enough time for 3. And I think that's where I'm going to be because, I think I have
don't
to.
know, man. That's pushing it.
Yep. No, I agree. But you know what, Ben, you and I are going to talk later. Obviously, you've got both represented behind you there. You know that both are amazing. And I think that when you find out that there's 3 amazing things in your life, you say, all right, there's 3 amazing things in my life.
Hey,
And,
I've got 3 kids.
And, which one do you love more than the other?
All equally.
No, see, not me.
Oh, that's such a
I will tell
lie.
you which one
That's
I
such a
love.
lie.
No,
That's a
no,
dangerous question.
no.
That's a dangerous question. Well, the problem is I already spent too much time in the basement. I already get in trouble for that. So if I had a third game, it would be over.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ben, thanks for joining us. And then thank you so much for the 2 hours. Any final words that you want to say? And what do we have? Look forward to what's your next piece going to be?
I don't know. I'm going to continue why Wonders is the best collectible card game ever. Sorry, Branch, but it is. And I'm going to continue that because I have a whole list of things. And but I'll do another video. I'll think, well, that thing's going to have to wait because I got another video plan. And so I have a whole list of things that, again, it just solved every problem I've had with collectible card games.
You're gonna love what we're doing with Wonders. You are gonna love it. That's so don't think Shoot Straight's about Boba. It's not. It's about the whole ecosystem, and we're about.
I know, I'm just giving you a hard time, man. I know.
No. I mean, this too. I think you're gonna really appreciate that we're gonna be publishing all of the price lists. That's very well curated with Filizino and RPG Gaming, Moop Dad. Legendary games, some icons of the community. They're collating and we're working together, and we're going to have an accurate price list. And so, I mean, we're leaning into Wonders, and I'm gonna be from the perspective of curating where I know what's playable and what's not. And so, I'm not going to be doing that price list. I'm working more on the Boba price list, but we're servicing the whole community, and because we believe in the whole community, so including Cosmics.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
All right.
Well, yeah. Thank you, Ben. Thanks for hanging with us.
No problem.
This was
Thanks,
awesome.
guys.
We look forward to talking to you again soon. All right.
And then there were 4.
Yes. So, Brant, you just kind of you started to tell us a little about what's going on with Shoot Straight. So let's just jump right into it. What are you guys up to?
Well, I guess picking up where we left off a month ago on the last time I was, a hospital bed in the background, I was like, hey, we're launching Shoot Straight. Oh, give me some more.
That's right. It's nice to see you on your feet.
Yeah. How are you doing, Branch? We should have asked that, Branch. How are you doing?
Yeah. How are you feeling?
Well, that was an old man dance if I ever saw one. Please edit that out. Oh my goodness. But anyway,
that's gonna be the thumbnail.
Yeah, that guarantees it's not going to get edited out, I'm sure. No, so we really had a plan. We went to nationals. We won. We said Shoot Straight's on the map, and then there's a lot of logistics to getting on the map. You don't just say, hey, look, everybody, this is where you need to be. If you're like, who are you? Even if you win the world championship. So what we've got is a concept of a gap in the things that can't really be addressed by the block packs community, the digital mining. It's you've got eBay giving you prices, you got Discord giving you prices, you got people that are getting sniped, skewing the market where it's like, wait, how come you sold that 1-of-1 for $50? And so what we've got is there's a need for somebody honestly like me, which is I've bought all of the cards that basically exist. I've consumed them, and I'm like, okay, now I've got where my budget is this, and I've got to get the right price points also on them. And now I still want more, and so I'm engaged across that sector to where not only am I aware of prices, I have the cards that need prices, and some of them are not going anywhere ever. They might fall in the category of 1-of-1s, and so those are just going to stay home. And we'll share pictures of those things. But everybody's like, I pulled this, what's it worth? And then you get this opinion and this opinion and this opinion in the Discord. And then you got well, look, this one sold for this on eBay, but look at this one that sold 2 months ago for this price on eBay. And so somebody that's got their finger on the pulse of the market has to be established so that somebody says, what should I be trading this card for or selling it for? There needs to be something that says, not just can you do that, it's actually for sale for this price on our site, because we're going to be taking over. Thank you. That's awesome. So we've got it for sale. So you see in the quantity there's a couple of items that say 1 or 4 or 0 or 3. A lot of the items that are in higher demand, I'm going to purposely leave at 1 because I don't want somebody to wipe out the space when they get to, oh wow, I need 7 of these because they're underpriced. Every day I'm going to update when something sells. There's going to be another one, and that's a good point. I love that you put mixtape in there because it's not an easy project to build out because I've got to make sure I'm getting prices accurately represented. And so when people say, well, what about this Hex mixtape? Like, well, if it's a debut hero or if it's a feature hero, this is a 1 of 1, or it's a 1 of some number that higher than 1 but less than 10. As you see, there's a $10,000 card there or a $100,000 card there. You put that number on something that nobody's ever going to be selling, but it might have been seen at the national. So, but so there, the conflict though is if I own a card, I know that I want to have paid a price for it and sell it. But if I don't own a copy, I can't be disparate in the pricing. It has to be, if I get it, I need to be willing to sell it for that price. And I also have to be willing to pay a percentage of that price to put it on there. So there's a reputation that goes behind this that is, can I legitimately speak to a price point? Well, yes, if I'm going to sell it for that price, because that means that is the market. Or what about if you don't have it and what it's worth? I have to be willing to pay a price for it that's relative to that. So we've got that element of backing up the price lists for Boba. Well, the same thing for Wonders. But at that point, I've got inventories that are not mine, but we've got some of the icons in the community, Mook Dad, RPG Gaming, and Legends Lair, or Legendary Breaks. They've got an exhaustive inventory of things that collectively with people like Filizino and others were like, okay, what is this curated to be? The other side of that is, and it's a little bit tongue in cheek when I say what a OCM, Emma should go for, and I say I think that's a $7,500 card. Part of the commitment to the community is not just letting a card, somehow get lowered in value to somebody accidentally put it on auction instead of a buy it now, and it went for, 40% of its actual value. Putting legitimate values for what something either is now or absolutely is going to be in 2 months. That doesn't mean I'm predicting the market without data. That's making sure that we're protecting the person who's got this, who bought it at a certain price, and we know the market's going to fluctuate. So keeping things stable like that, that's our endeavor, but really to protect the consumer. Everybody that's in this community is like, I love being here. I want to make sure everybody's taken care of. You don't want somebody to have something that's actually worth $1,000 and then say, well, hey, I'll trade you this $200 card for it. And they say, well, that one's shiny. You've got a deal. Mm-hmm. You want something that says, here's a reputable place to track values. So we've been active in this space now for about 2 weeks. And within the next week and a half, we're going to have the Boba and the Wonders stuff set up. So you're on a good page there. So I appreciate you going there to the top, and you see where we've got some scrolling cards there. So tomorrow at 5:00, our enterprise of streamers is going to do 4 straight hours of just giveaways. We're gonna give away $10,000 of cards, 1 card at a time, or sets of 3 at a time, where we want all of the people that are representing the community by selling singles and cracking packs to be able to get the same audience across the board. There's problems where you get people like, or you get things like Hobby Club. I mean, that's such a horrible thing that happens when you make a mistake and then you get punished for 48 hours or something like that. That's miserable. But what we want to do is make sure that there's a fair and accurate representation across the community of people that are providing great service. And so obviously the headliner, Hobby Club, doing great service to the community, providing great value. There's other people that are wanting to be a part of that as well. So what we're doing to just kind of get on the board for people like Lord Shrouded and Legendary Breaks and Simo Cells and Valley Games and all of the group that we got, we're just going to give away stuff for 4 hours, and then we're going to do it again next week. And people are like, well, what's going on here? Then we're gonna make sure that the things that are sold on these streams are actual value, where nobody's got to say, oh, I bought that, but I can't tell my wife. Oh, I got to rotate this credit card to make sure I pay that credit card. Change your payment method because you're in the what is it, begins with the G. Somebody help me. You know what it is because you've tried to buy something and it stopped you buying it before too. you're in the gulag. Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, the red. You're in the red.
That's right.
Yeah.
We want to keep people from being there. We want to say, look,
Yeah.
come here. Here's the right prices, and we want to do the things that we've seen happen, like terms of service, no gambling. Well, that's okay because we want to make sure you're getting your money's worth, and we have a price point to back it up. Like, hey, this is what these cards are worth. So we're excited to just make our splash into the community tomorrow at 5:00. I know that this will probably be released once edited after this has occurred, but you'll know that we tried. And we're really excited to just do some fun things that protect the manufacturer, who's like, I want good advertising and I don't want people to be afraid to buy my product. To protect the consumer, that, hey, I spent this much money, but when it arrived, it was worth more than what I spent. And we want to protect the streamer. It's like, well, hey, we want to make sure that we're sharing our resources to where everybody's actually getting something to sell, and you're all able to be sustained. So ideally, we'd like to get into a good relationship with some of the manufacturers that will give us product as a entity to make sure that we're going to equitably put it out to the entire community. So whether that's a different game or this one, we want to really just engage representing the people who need good advertising, because there's a wholesome family product that we're going to push.
Tex, before you, I just want to remind Branch that don't fall into the trap Tex does, where he says you can do that and post edit, is like, this is live. We'll do additional editing, but just let you know, before you say something that could get us all in trouble, just know that there's no take backsies. We can clean it up a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Whatever
Live TV.
Forgive me. I don't know what I said that was wrong, but
No. Just when you said, like, when you were saying everything is going to be edited, just know that there is a copy now out there for everyone.
Yeah, like, yes, we're actually putting out $10,000 worth of product that we're giving away for free over 4 hours, and we're going.
We're not on Whatnot. We can't get canceled on Whatnot. Don't worry.
Yeah, that will be on Whatnot, correct? That will be on Whatnot.
It will be on Whatnot, and we're going to blast it through Discord and through our social media channels. It's going to be the headliner of our webpage. I know that you guys have done thank you so much for giving us that extra, www.shootstraight.com. Navigate through there. We've got a checkout system that's only going to get better. So if it's good right now, which it's not, it's okay right now. It's going to get better. So, but people DM me and they're like, hey, do you have this? I couldn't find it. I'm like, hey, let me check the inventory. And so we definitely are targeting making sure that the community is well represented and feels safe, because we're going to back up mistakes. Oh, hey, this didn't arrive here. Well, you know what? We had 2 copies before we listed one, so we'll send you another.
Hey, Tex, while you're asking your question, I'm going to bring American Texan back on, because he had some questions for Branch. But go ahead, Tex, and then I'll bring Texan.
So the site is live, correct? The site is up and live, and now it's not. There's no paywall on the site, correct? It's not gated for the pricing information or anything like that.
I'm sorry. Ask that question again. I'm sorry.
But for the pricing information and the sales information stuff, is any of that price gated? Is there a gate? Is there a subscription model for the site to access
no,
price list or anything, or is it all free?
No, it's free. Absolutely. Oh my goodness.
Excellent.
You can't make people pay for something like this. This is stuff that
you never know. Just ask.
No. I appreciate the question, and but like, there's other people that would think that need to be that, and that's just silly. But the prices are. If it's in stock, that's what we'll sell it for. And if it's not in stock and there's a price on there, we're going to pay a percentage of that price to put it in stock. So we're backing up our prices.
Okay. And you've said that that you're aggregating your information from eBay and from different places and stuff. How often is the pricing on the site getting updated? Is it once a day? Is it?
So that's an excellent question. One of the features that we're going to add to the site is risers and fallers. So if there's prices that go up and down, we're going to be transparent about, hey, this went down or this went up. Hey, if I end up with 10 extra copies of something in my inventory that was previously a certain price, I'm going to lower the price. I feel bad for the people who've been holding on to that one copy of it, but the market's going to be dictated by supply and then of course demand. So we're going to fluctuate according to the true marketplace. But at the same time, I know that if I've got AI Hex Auto that's graded tag 10, because we're not going to differentiate necessarily unless it's a feature item, that I'm not going to let that go for less than $4,000, and I own it. If somebody outside of that says, I'm willing to let mine go for 3,500 or 3,000, then more power to you. I want that to happen, but I want there to be price points that are trustworthy. As in, like, if I give it this price, we're going to back it with our resources, as in we own it or we're willing to pay for it at some price relative to that. And by the way, that doesn't mean I'm paying 90% of the value of something because I've got that price in there. It depends on, is it something that I expect that we're going to have somebody chasing it? So it's probably, if we don't have it at all, we're probably going to pay 70% of it. If we got 5 copies of it, we're probably going to pay closer to 50% of it. So something along that line.
Okay, and I know American Texan has some questions, and I'll get to him in a second. I just want to ask one other thing. So, and you may have covered this, and I just missed it. Will there be a point, or is there a point now, where I'm able to put my own cards on your site and sell them, or are you just working from stuff you're buying and accruing and then putting it on the site to sell?
So we're developing that out as we expand. So we're going to absolutely represent additional games, particularly ones that aren't represented on TCG Player. I am not going to fund all of these different inventories. I can't. I got to stay married and pay the rent or the mortgage. But right now, what we've got is members of our enterprise have acted more or less as a co-op, and we've collectively put together inventories specifically really for Wonders. Right now, the inventory that is on the site is exclusively what I've built up. But I mean, I think that there's unfortunately a reputation that I've established that suggests that I have a pretty good inventory, but I'm continuing to acquire. So really, I mean, I'm not going to have every hex of every texture on the site. I'll have prices for it, but I will tell you that there's going to be, at any given time, 10% of that will be available. I'm not pillaging from my Apex World Championship deck to put things on the site, but the fact that I could build multiple decks suggests that we're going to have some really good quality cards in different textures once I get through those. So I think American Texans is like, all right, but what are you going to do with Wonders? So what's the legitimacy of your Wonders backup plan for this? I don't know if that's where we're going, but I'm afraid. What is it? Where are we going with this now?
Don't be afraid. I'm the nicest guy in the Discord. I keep hearing from people. In fact, I heard this morning too. Even it's like, hey, you're too nice. Like, yeah, I know.
Nobody tells me that
because you're not.
Yeah.
No, my question comes from a background of being a comic collector and knowing how quick the market can be fluctuating, as well as how easily it can be manipulated, especially if you're pulling from resources like eBay.
Yes,
a great example I have behind me. Yes, right there. That is a what if Iron Man was Dr. Doom. 2 years ago, I bought that for $5.
On had to be on eBay, and somebody didn't know what they had.
No, 2 years ago, this was worth $5. However, in July of last year, when RDJ was announced as the Dr. Doom, this jumped up to $80 overnight. And I was actually selling for $120, then dropped down to $80.
Okay.
So again, 2 years ago, this was just another what if comic, and then the announcement made it go overnight. Now, my thing is though, if you went to a comic shop and you try to buy this, there are some comic shops, and this is controversial, that will say, okay, well, let me see what it's selling for on eBay, and then I'll sell it to you for that price. Maybe it's the lowest price, but so maybe I go the next day to get this for $5, and then my store clerk checks eBay and is like, okay, $5, great. But if I go a week later, it's $80, right? That's how quick the market can fluctuate. It works both good and bad. But then also, most importantly, so how fast can you address those market changes? Because there could be something where, for example, again, Rippaverse is a comic company that I follow. Axe from the electric guitarist Axe from help me out. Welcome to the Jungle. The band name.
Guns N' Roses.
Thank you, Guns N' Roses. He was wearing a Rippaverse hat. Well, guess what? All the metalheads started wanted to. What is this Rippaverse? And right, in these collectibles, started selling. Right, so that drives up the price, especially when we're talking about the secondary market. So that stuff changes fast. Yes. What concerns me is if I just happen to be selling, which I don't sell a lot of stuff. I don't want to say, hey, a lot of people are asking for this, so I'm really want to sell it for this, and it really bogs down the trading and just adds another level to where a lot of comic people, if we find out that when we go to your comic shop and we look at back issues and we bring it up, and before you check me out, you're going to check the price guide or eBay prices, we don't shop there, and so we don't do deals with you because that's a hindrance, right? You should know what your product is worth, and you should sell it for that product. But the other thing that I think is more concerning is price manipulation, because I know there's been issues where people will basically buy and sell to themselves or with friends at heightened prices to overinflate the price, and then they can point to a history and say, well, look, on eBay this sold for $80, and then a few weeks later sold for $120. So tracking that, it's obviously worth this, when really, because of the actual literal unmanipulated supply and demand, it's actually only worth 20. But you overpriced it, and now everyone's pointing to that as proof. When you really, so how are you addressing those concerns where we don't have another like Overstreet Price Guide is the end all be all, and it's actually not in reality?
So there's two elements of that you've got to protect against. One is the external, let me just buy all of these out and then inflate the price somewhere else, and I'm going to put them on eBay, and nobody else has them, and therefore that is the price because I'm the entire marketplace.
Well, that's different. That actually I call that scalping, but because that's market manipulation. But
we're saying the same thing, market manipulation, where you buy out every card of every version that everybody's selling on TCG Market or TCG Player, and then you say, now I have 3 listings and they're all at this price, and nobody can say different, and that's just false inflation. The other side of that is the one that people will probably be more afraid of, is if you've got a bad player who's saying, I control this, and because I own this card, I'm going to make it this price. So the first side of that is, for any of the cards that we have in mass quantities, we're going to be putting a relative number of available to what those quantities are. So if I have 200 copies of a play that's a common, I might let you buy 10 at a time, and then, but at the end of that day, there's 0. And then the next day I need to update that. If there's something that I have 5 copies of, and some, I had 4 copies of bonus play 4 that was in the inventory, and I didn't list 4 copies in the inventory, even though I had the price at $250 a card. I put 1, and then somebody got to buy it. And then I put another one up, and somebody got to buy it. And so those things keep me from being in a position like, okay, what is this card? I'm checking. Okay, I can add it back to the inventory, and nobody gets to take all that away. It also serves the community that wants more people to have a copy of that. But now, what if I say, oh, wow, I have 10 copies of this card that's, if it has this value, then I can make it higher. Well, part of that has to be that I'm willing to buy the cards at a price that's relative to that. And so that's something we're going to publish, like our commitment to up to a cap. I mean, we can't bankrupt ourselves, but if we've got the place in our inventory for something that we don't have, we're willing to pay that for it. If we have something else, we're going to be completely transparent. If somebody asks how many we have in stock, we will say how many we have in stock. And I commit to that at all layers, because that's one of the things about Shoot Straight that we want to commit to: transparency with our books, transparency with all of our transactions, and price points we have to be able to defend. Otherwise, we have no credibility. So I will always make all of that information available. So what I mentioned earlier, we're going to add to our site a risers and fallers. And we're going to update our prices according to that. And so people should be able to go to the site for wonders. And I may not know why a card has gone up and down in value, but I know that the inventory reflects this, and I've got good counsel from people maybe before I get into that space when I'm going to win the next world championship in a different event or something like that. And I'm going to be able to update those prices relative to what the true marketplace is. And there's not going to be an event that changes 20% of the space where it's like, I've got to go in and I've got to update prices on 300 cards. There's going to be something that a particular meta of the game says, now these cards have this higher value. And if nothing affects that, then I'm going to recognize false inflation and be like, no, we're just going to stick with a price that's the legitimate price. And if we don't have them because somebody tried to inflate it, well, here's the price, and that's what we'll buy the next copy at. So
how do you, let me put on my Wonders Workshop journalism hat here. How do you maintain objectivity through that? Recognizing what is falsely inflated versus what actually is.
Well, but before you answer that, so just to be clear, is that your mechanism for pricing is all manual. This is not. This isn't automatic at all. Okay, sorry. Thanks. I just want to preface American Texan's question with that.
Right, and I think that's an important model too, because I'm not going to do it in a vacuum, so I can say up front, I can tell you what the price of a Boba card ought to be, and I'm going to get it right. I will tell you that Knoxville Chris and I were both independently consulted on a card value, and somebody said, well, what do you think this is? Because there was a trade was about to happen. And later on, we both got screenshots that were independent. It was like, that's funny. You said $120 and he said $120. There's people that is like, there's values that are very knowable. Like I didn't say 123.50. It was like he nailed 123.50. But if you're in that correct range, that's good. But now Wonders, I don't know Wonders, but I will tell you Filizino and Michael Guerin and Larry Abels, people that if you know, those are the ones that I'm not doxing Filizino, but I mean I definitely we know each other. We want to make sure that we're curating that where if something happens, I'm vetting it through people who are accountable to the game, who people care more about the gameplay and know what the collectibles side of it is. And then I curate it from an analytics perspective. I have a decade of data analytics with the FBI before this. And so those elements of how do you know what's affecting the market, a lot of it's going to be the meta, a lot of it's going to be availability, a lot of it's going to be whether or not it's payday and people don't have money at this point, and that doesn't dictate fluctuations. So things that are what a data analyst has to put towards that, and that's what I'm going to do. And so information assurance is where I have my doctorate. And so information assurance feeding into the data where you've got things that are going to be saleable, there's accountability there too. Because I don't want to be investigated and then pay fines ultimately when this becomes bigger than a hobby. Which, by the way, this is bigger than a hobby. We want to protect the entire ecosystem. So,
with that transparency, do you have? Are you going to have historical data that you're using to base your pricing off of, so we can see the average through line versus, well, this one was sold for way underpriced because they had to pay for medical bill, and this one was paid for way overpriced because I don't know for whatever reason, but someone really wanted it.
I don't think that we're going to have transparency on what we pay for things, but people are going to know that based on reputation, what I pay, because I don't think that's something that tracks as easily. Like I'm not going to insert what my price was for something. You're going to lose money on something market dips, but absolutely we're going to have 100% transparency that'll be surfaceable through Google Analytics that we're going to have tagged on all of our pages that we're going to then track on all of our sales. And 100% of that will be available. FOIA, first and foremost, you get stuff if you have any affiliation with anything that's in the financial sector. And so that, but also we offer it up to the point that it just takes too much of my time to like manually research. But a lot of that's just going to be digitally searchable. Like, yep, here you go.
So what's interesting too is graded versus ungraded.
That was my next question.
Oh,
not even graded, but card condition.
So
right?
so card condition is going to be non-guaranteed for anything that isn't actually graded. If it's graded, it's going to be guaranteed by the grader. And any graded stuff that we sell, now if something's creased or whatever, if somebody gets it creased in the mail, then we're going to back it up. We'll send you another one. If it's got like a white edge that's part of how it came out of the pack, then hey, we sell a player's product. But if it's graded by PSA or TAG or BGS, they're going to back that. But also we're selling those items we sold as feature items, and they'll be prominently displayed on the front of the, like, hey, maybe we do a Dutch auction. Maybe this is going to start at $200 and every hour it's going to come down 100, and we're selling this today. But the non-graded products are going to be just in the database of go there, and we're selling a player's product. So I guess that's the answer there. And
my main concern is more on the price guide part of the site. Using it as a reference of what things ought to cost versus what they are. The market moves so fast nowadays.
Yeah, the TCG player has, you buy it in this condition and this is the price. So you get in this condition, this is the price. We're not trying to duplicate every part of TCG player. There's a lot that we like about TCG player. Some of the things we don't like about TCG player is that Boba and Wonders and MetaZoo, they're not on TCG player. Yeah. And we want to fill that gap too, because there's a great community that loves these products, and they need to be serviced. And then they also need to be able to access things like, I don't know how to scour eBay to find these plays for my deck. Oh, look, I can enter all of them here, add them to my cart, and they're all coming in one spot. And they're going to come in 2 days because I don't have to send it through an authenticator, because Shoot Straight is the authenticator. We're going to say you're getting a legitimate product, and we back it. So, I hope that, I want those answers from me if I'm the consumer. I want to hear those things. So I'm looking at it from that perspective. As a consumer, what do I want?
I had a couple of questions, Texan, but do you have a couple more?
No, that was basically it for me. I have one more question, but I don't want to ask it today. I'm going to ask it in the future.
I have a quick question, Slappy.
Your questions
So-
are never quick.
Stop interrupting me. So say, are you going to have a list on the site of cards you're looking to buy,
So
or
you're talking about
looking
you're
to
talking about a
update
buy
your
list.
inventory?
So
I'm
yeah,
sorry?
you're talking about a buy list. And so
Yeah.
effectively, if we don't have it in inventory, we want to buy it.
Right.
And there will be cards that if you say, what are you going to pay for this card? We're going to have to be responding manually to certain things like that. And we will tell you, we might pay 80%. If somebody sends me a copycat that they're looking to sell, I'm probably going to pay 95% for that card, because I know that people cannot get enough of that card. If they're asking for a Fire Blizzard Bammer, then and I don't have it in sight, on the site, I know that the margins on that are going to be something that I have to fairly represent everybody that's trying to be a part of Shoot Straight, and say, okay, I'll still pay 60% of that card, because nobody's going to fail to get where they want to be on that. But I'll also connect you with somebody. I'm not trying to monopolize the marketplace, but I do want to provide a service. And of course, I want to make sure that we can make money to sustain our infrastructure too, as we grow.
Right. And you have to continue to grow your inventory.
Exactly.
So, and Branch, and by the way, I should have apologized at the beginning. Being in front of the camera, also I'm doing behind the camera. So when I'm off on the side, I'm just the bringing people on stage, the different messages. So I apologize if I'm not always here. But did you mention? So I didn't see Wonders cards when I went to singles. I didn't see them there. So there are no Wonders cards loaded yet.
No, we have to perfect the boba database first. We want to
Okay.
make sure that we get it functional,
Sure.
and then we have the templating to then, like, I'm already getting the spreadsheets with prices and quantities from the people that are stocking us.
Yep.
Then we'll just be able to upload that into an instance. And so by the time Wonders shows up, it should be a fully functional product up to the degree that we're getting boba up to.
And
So-
now, will you do the same type of event that you're doing tomorrow on September 11th, where you're giving away $10,000 worth of product, probably more, of boba? Are you going to be doing the same thing for Wonders when you launch that side?
No, so we're not right now. What we're going to do is provide this service to our streamers where they get a lot of publicity, and
Yep.
then there's a lot of followers that like, wow, I mean, if I'm going to get in on this if I'm giving away stuff. We are absolutely going to be doing a lot of stuff that are very deliberately giving away things, because like, I'm not trying to make 300% profit on anything. I think that that's a broken model. I think that does a disservice to the community, and it stops growing. So what I want to do is make sure that we are giving things back, but also the Wonders product that we're putting on there. I probably have $5,000 or $6,000 worth of product. That's nothing for an inventory, but there's another $50,000 to $60,000 to $70,000 worth of product that we're going to be putting up there. I'm not giving away somebody else's product,
Right.
but I will allow some of our streamers who have access to that to say, look, we want to give this away. We want to do it in a string, kind of like we are for this, this giveaway blast tomorrow. And we'll do that to welcome new streamers into our enterprise, where we say, look, you guys need some more attention, and we're going to let you be at the back end of this giveaway train. And we're going to make sure that you get the publicity of the generosity that we're really representing as part of our community here.
All right, thank you for taking my calls, my questions. See you guys. I got to take off. Yeah, now I got to take off. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you, American
Thanks,
Tech.
Texan.
Thank you very much for those. So hopefully I did a good enough job there explaining things. Anybody can ask me questions about anything. It doesn't have to be just during this show right now. But
Because there's a couple of things, Branch. Tell me, Shoot Straight, the elevator pitch, 30 seconds. What is Shoot Straight?
there's three things that we want to protect. People that are paying too much for products because they're buying something that had to be purchased for over MSRP and it had to be inflated. We want to protect a streamer who doesn't have access to the product to sell from a wholesale perspective, and they don't have the followers or the customers to make their business model legitimately sustainable. And we want to protect the manufacturer once we establish good relationships with people that are distributing their product, but that don't have the ability to advertise on a correct budget. I think one of the most effective forms of advertising right now is what you see Hobby Club having done. Give some people a show, but then make sure that you do something very similar to what they do. Ensure that purchase. But I don't want people to spend, their rent money on it. So I want it to be a value point that gets spread out. So we're gonna have a lot less auctions on our enterprise, then we're going to have fixed price things that have near guaranteed value that we want people to rotate through. Like, hey, we want 5 people to purchase something before the first person purchases it again, because we're going to have these things available and they're going to be guaranteed value. So I want to protect the manufacturer and their reputation. I want to protect the streamer who wants this to become potentially an enterprise that their family can thrive on. And I want to protect the customer who needs to be able to have spent the right amount of money that they don't have to hide from another family member, but that they get value that once it arrives and they're like, man, I made a mistake. And they're like, okay, you know what? Sell it back to Shoot Straight or put it on eBay. You're not going to lose.
Now, will you be listing pricing for sealed product also? And will there be sealed product available through the site at some point?
That will depend 100% on what engagements we have with the manufacturers that will give us allocations. If their desire is that we make products available that they have that's sealed, when we have those relationships, we're going to honor that request or that desire. Okay. We're absolutely going to represent the manufacturers that we have arrangements with. I have very specific designs to develop those, but right now we're building out value first. We don't want to engage with somebody that has to speculate whether or not we're bringing value to the community. So once we've established that, then I want those relationships to grow naturally into, hey, we think this is a place where we can be best represented, because integrity has got to be synonymous with Shoot Straight. Transparent.
Hence Shoot Straight.
Yeah,
exactly.
And regardless of if you're able to sell the product or not, will you be including sealed product in the price guide? Just even if it's not available for sale, but just as a reference for, like, what does a Dragon box go for nowadays? What does a Jumbo Boba Alpha box go for?
I think what we might have is more of an opportunity for open dialogue. We just started our Discord channel today because I was tired of proctoring a bunch of Apple iPhone text groups that were overlapping. Yeah. But I think that we're going to have an open forum, that we're going to have the experts be able to say this is the correct price point. Because if we're not able to sell something, potentially we'll have something for sale. It'll be a featured item, so maybe it's a Dragon box, and we'll establish a fair price on it. We're never going to inflate prices on anything. We'll say this is available. Maybe we inflate it by 20% because it follows the Dutch auction type thing, where we don't want the first person to see it to instantly buy it, but the price is going to come down until the person says, I'm going to get it at this price point. But other than that, where we're really just treating the market fairly, where there's accessibility to things that if you're willing to pay a little bit more, you get it, and somebody that was going to get it at a different price, that was an acceptable difference. But we're not going to do it where we got 200% of a value that somebody says, I need it, I'm going to pay 200%. We're not going to offer anything for that price. We're going to make sure that we're leaving things in a place where there's accessibility and there's good value across the board.
Excellent.
So I did think about it before I came on the show. So
he's just winging it.
Yeah, just
true. I don't have a script, obviously. Jason was supposed to help me.
Yeah, your AI model disappeared. Jen, I just want to hear the recap and the details about tomorrow. But is there anything else that we want to ask Branch before he goes out telling us what to expect tomorrow, where people can go, and what's going to happen tomorrow? And we should say September 11th when that happens, because again, people will watch this recorded. He has a special event happening. Shoot Straight has a special event happening September 11th. But Jen, is there anything else before we kind of turn to that?
No, the whole kit and caboodle and the kitchen sink. But yeah, just I am looking forward to tuning into that stream and seeing what it's all about. And then I've been on the website a couple times, to check it out.
So the reason it hasn't been updated for the last 3 hours is because the guy who does most of the updates has been engaged in some other things for the last 3 hours. So.
I will have to say though, there are no mixtapes on their Branch.
No, and there will be, because we have a specific audience that we want to cater to who absolutely gets what she needs. I mean, what they need. So yeah, but that's we want every texture. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to have this done Monday. And since Monday, I've done nothing because I've been in that many interviews for people that want to be part of our enterprise and people that we're vetting to make sure. I mean, to be clear, we're not going to partner with anybody who's going to have, a lot of blaring profane music going in the back of their stream. We're not about that. I loved it that American Texan said he's at church on Sunday. Me and my whole family are at church on Sunday, and I don't want anybody to tune in and be like, oh, hey kids, this daddy's watching this. Y'all can't be a part of that. That doesn't mean that everybody's got to be completely ideologically aligned with where we are, but integrity has to be a core value for any of our partners. And we're going to protect each other. Like, hey, if something messes up, we're going to make sure that we make sure you get part of what we've got too. So
I think you touched on this a little, but can you run through quickly the list of partners you have at this point?
Yeah, so right now we've got a couple of brand new streamers, but a lot of the names are going to be well known. So B-Dub or Brandon Webster, he's got B-Dub Hub, and he's going to be on there. In fact, I know that Slappy, you had this before. If you want to, you can put this on the screen. If you go to the tab that says Whatnot, you've got our Whatnot partners on there, and all 8 of them are going to be part of the Givey stream. But then there's a brand new breaker as well that we're going to dump into his stream, and one other that we're coordinating. But you see B-Dub Hub there. That's Brandon Webster. Everybody knows Legendary Breaks. Then Shrouded Treasures. A lot of people know Mauro from a long time. There's a write-ups for all of those. Kai Breaks, that's Alakai. A lot of people know him. Joey Lavarino, he's Night Owl Delivery. Moop Dad is RPG Gaming. A lot of you guys have run into Grayson at SEMO Cells, and then Valley Hit House, Soothing and Adam. Those guys are nuts. I cringe to get on there, but I know that they're putting on a good show, and I laugh more than anything else. And obviously, Shoot Straight needs to be able to lead in giving away things. I'm not asking anybody to give away stuff that I'm not leading in giving away, and I also want to make sure I show people exactly how they're supposed to get their camera set up right, or how we're putting OBS onto their stream, or saying, hey, you're in a safe place because we're part of the Shoot Straight enterprise. So a little branding that's going to go along with all of our partners. So hopefully that was a good once around the world there.
It was, yeah, that was perfect. That was great.
Jakes, owe me a Coke.
I'll have to re-put Whatnot back on my phone just for tomorrow.
I love it, but because you know what, you're not going to lose money on our stream. Nothing will be for sale.
Yeah. What I won't have, I won't have Tex Hooper calling me going, we should do this. We should do this. We should go in. We should.
Yeah. Come on, let's go halves. Halves.
Hey, there's room for everybody. You guys just hit me up later. We really are. So once we have all of those mechanisms in place, we're going to be taking applications for people to be a part of our network. The next natural question for somebody who didn't say, why didn't they ask this? What is your pricing structure? We're going to charge 1% of the gross revenue of any of the streamers that join into the accessibility to the product that we will hope to deliver wholesale. And then we're going to make sure that we provide effectively insurance by backing it with reputation. And then we're going to do training. We're going to have on-team brand advocates. Kurt Spice is current reigning team Lorcana world champion. People that if we're selling Lorcana, I want people to be able to say, hey, I don't know Lorcana, but here's reigning world champion. If people don't know Boba, hey, here's a reigning world champion. If people don't know Wonders, hey, here's a
potential world champion.
Soon to be world champion.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe I can get C-Town to jump in. He's got a whole lot of championship experience in a whole lot of areas. So maybe there's a shout out there.
Well, thanks for joining us and staying the whole time and being part of the conversation, Branch.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this has been great. Thank you very much.
You guys are the best. Thanks for having me, before, now, and giving us the opportunity to just, I hope just represent, good value, good, not like value-based, but good values, good integrity, intentions, and a commitment plainly to honoring God and what we're doing. So that's our commitment.
Thanks, Branch.
Excellent.
Awesome. Thanks, Branch.
Thank you very much.
All right. God bless you guys. I look forward to talking to y'all again soon.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Wow, Jen, that was wild. Look, we're 3 minutes shy of 3 hours here.
Dang.
This has been a marathon today.
Woo!
Yeah, Tex's AirPods. Do you notice his audio sucks because his AirPods died?
They died. I'm having to charge them one at a time so I can keep the show going. Oh, in my computer, one of the times I got up, I had to go get my charger
I don't know.
I
I,
had to
I,
get my computer was about to die.
Hey,
I try not to watch him anymore after the cat walked by.
I know.
He just jumped up on me. I
Te-
couldn't even,
you know,
I didn't
te-
even know what was happening.
Takes a computer charger though. That's a pretty rookie mistake.
Yeah.
I know. I have great shame. I'm in my living room or in my dining room. I'm not down in my
Dungeon.
basement office
Yeah.
today. I wanted the better lighting.
Yeah, it's great. It's
So
great.
I'm not in the pit, so I didn't have my regular setup.
Yeah.
First world problems. I know it's tough.
All right. Am I rapping?
Let's wrap it up.
Am I rapping? All right. And that's a wrap on today's BPX Break Room. Huge thanks to all of our guests, American Texan, Carolina Girl, Gabe, Benless, and Ben. And of course, our reigning Boba World Champion, who reminded us that several times in the interview.
Humble brag.
For bringing the fire, the insight, and the laughs. Major thanks to Tex Hooper, my partner in keeping the energy alive, and to Slappy for braving the spotlight. Turns out the break room runs just fine when he's on camera. Though I am still going to keep score. Most importantly, thanks to all of you in the community for hanging out, dropping questions, and being the heartbeat of this whole thing. The Wonders content creators, the Boba crowd, the Stone Seeker Society. You really are the crown jewel of the Blockpax Empire, and shows like this are all about shining the spotlight on what you do. We'll be back with more content, more conversations, and probably more questionable takes. So make sure you subscribe, tune in, and are ready to roll. This has been the BPX Break Room, brought to you by Radish Digital with a J, because spelling it the normal way is just too easy. See you guys next time.
Bye. See you, Jen. See you, Slappy. Ooh. Funkier than normal.